Chapter 1666. Collect. After defeating the two, Tian Wufa reached out with his hand. A terrifying Dao intent transformed into a gigantic hand that blotted out the sky. It released a terrifying Dao intent and directly crushed the defensive white light protecting the Daimization flower. The precious Daimization flower was now in his hand. Flowers are for beauties. Miss, this Daimization flower is for you. Do you like it? Tian Wufa handed the Daimization flower to Xia Wendy and said while looking at her beautiful face, "Thank you, but there's no need." Although the Daimization flower was extremely important to Xia Wendy, she didn't accept Tian Wufa's gift and directly rejected it. "Miss, you have a connate Dao body and this Daimization flower contains a heaven-level Dao intent. It is extremely useful to you. If you refine it, it will definitely strengthen your connate Dao body and increase your strength." Tian Wufa softly said. "Matzi, he is right. This Daimization flower is indeed useful to you." Suddenly, a blurry figure appeared beside Xia Wendy and snatched the Daimization flower from Tian Wufa's hand. "Who are you?" Tian Wufa's expression instantly turned gloomy when he saw Yi Qinfeng's sudden appearance. His deep eyes flickered with a cold light as he whispered, "Her husband." Yi Qinfeng stuffed the Daimization flower into Xia Wendy's soft hands and gently pulled her into his embrace. Weaklings are not worthy of her. If you don't want to die, then scram as far as you can. Otherwise, I don't mind breaking your neck." Seeing the woman he liked being hugged by another man, Tian Wufa's heart burned with a raging flame as he glared at Yi Qinfeng. "Let's go, Matzi. Let's ignore this boring person." Although Yi Qinfeng felt a dangerous aura from Tian Wufa, he was not afraid. He gently hugged Xia Wendy's soft body and prepared to leave. "You are courting death." The arrogant Tian Wufa saw Yi Qinfeng ignoring him. A thick, murderous aura emitted from his body without reservation. With a palm strike, the air immediately shattered. A terrifying palm strike aimed at Yi Qinfeng's back in an attempt to shatter his bones. Whoosh! Sword light flashed beneath Yi Qinfeng's feet. He grabbed Xia Wendy and disappeared, dodging Tian Wufa's palm attack. Time precepts. Feeling Yi Qinfeng dodge, the flow of space suddenly accelerated. Tian Wufa raised his eyebrows. He was surprised that Yi Qinfeng had comprehended the mysterious laws of time. "I didn't expect you to not be a piece of trash." Tian Wufa's eyes shone with a cruel light. "But she is the woman I want. No one can take her away." "If that's the case, then let me get rid of this annoying fly." Yi Qinfeng replied in an overbearing manner, "Matzi, wait for me in the cosmic realm." With that said, Yi Qinfeng sent Xia Wendy back into the universe realm with a thought. He then summoned the universe sword formation, which revolved around him. "It's good that she's not here. That way, I can torture you without restraint." The instant Xia Wendy entered the universe realm, Tian Wufa's killing intent surged out without reservation. It condensed into a terrifying sword qi that slashed towards Yi Qinfeng. However, before this sword qi could reach Yi Qinfeng, it was scattered by the physical strength within his body. It didn't injure him at all. Whoosh! The instant Yi Qinfeng shattered the sword qi, Tian Wufa mysteriously disappeared before him. He appeared behind him as though he had teleported, and an extremely sharp sword qi slashed towards him. Universe sword formation, break. Although Tian Wufa's movement speed was fast, the God-Eater brain had long since captured his movements. With a thought from Yi Qinfeng, the Cosmos sword formation spun rapidly, directly breaking through the interweaving sword shadows. In the next moment, Yi Qinfeng fused with the Divine Blood Pearl and Chaos Pearl, and his strength instantly improved to the 5-star Daolord realm. He summoned the Colossal Spirit Sword, and then he turned around and slashed with a peerlessly domineering sword strike that slashed down towards Tian Wufa at close range. Yi Qinfeng's attack was extremely powerful, and a deep sword mark appeared in space. However, Tian Wufa didn't dodge. He quickly summoned the 8 trigrams disc to block the colossal spirit sword. Thump! Thump! In a head-on collision, Yi Chunfeng suffered a small loss. He was pushed back 3 steps by the energy surging out from the 8 trigrams disc, and he left 3 deep footprints on the hard ground. 8 trigrams disc, reverse the universe. Tian Wufa swiftly deduced Tao insights and madly fused them into the 8 trigrams disc. He controlled the 8 trigrams disc to form an enormous 8 trigrams formation that shot out rays of killing intent towards Yi Chunfeng. Primordial bloodline, 2 sacred true soul flames, ignite. Yi Chunfeng didn't dare be careless when he sensed how terrifying the 8 trigrams disc was. He swiftly raised his strength to its peak and summoned violet lightning to attack. Yi Chunfeng blasted out with a palm, and violet lightning appeared in the air. It carried astonishing destructive power as it blasted apart the rays of killing intent. However, the 8 trigrams disc was a low-grade transcendent saint artifact, and Tian Wufa was stronger than Yi Chunfeng. Under the surging power of the 8 trigrams disc, Yi Chunfeng's violet lightning was unable to break through the 8 trigrams disc. Ninefold Black Pagoda. The violet lightning was suppressed by the 8 trigrams disc, and Yi Chunfeng immediately summoned the Ninefold Black Pagoda. He controlled the Black Pagoda to grow larger and larger, shattering the rays of killing intent as they smashed into the 8 trigrams disc. Bang! When the 2 transcendent holy treasures collided with each other, an earth-shattering explosion erupted. A large amount of dazzling white light filled the broken space, making people unable to open their eyes. Swish! Swish! As the 2 transcendent saint artifacts clashed, Yi Chunfeng and Tian Wufa simultaneously attacked each other. When their fists collided, the power of nearly 100 million pounds exploded from Yi Chunfeng's fist, shattering the will of the Wei in Tian Wufa's fist and forcing him to take a step back. After being forced back by Yi Chunfeng's fist, Tian Wufa was both shocked and enraged. With a thought, he summoned his low-grade transcendent saint artifact, the Extreme Light Sword, and stabbed it at Yi Chunfeng, forcing Yi Chunfeng to dodge with all his strength. I didn't think that you'd be hiding your strength so deeply. But no matter how powerful you are, it's useless. You are destined to be the loser. After forcing Yi Chunfeng back with one sword strike, Tian Wufa's eyes shone with boundless light. He took a step forward, and as if he had teleported, he appeared next to Yi Chunfeng. Countless sword shadows interweaved and enveloped Yi Chunfeng. Qiankuan sword formation, Qiankuan strike, break. The sword shadow tore through space and attacked. Yi Chunfeng immediately controlled the cosmos sword matrix floating above his head to fuse together, turning into an invincible giant sword. Profound will of Wei intertwined with each other, and it resisted the attack head-on. Boom boom boom. Deafening explosions continued to resound in the void. The 2 of them were still evenly matched, neither able to do anything to the other. Ether's secret art, boundless great Tao. As Tian Wufa rapidly deduced the great Tao, Yi Chunfeng's body fused with the 4 Tao diagrams, transforming into a boundless great Tao that surged like a river toward Tian Wufa. How do you know Ether's secret art? After forcefully breaking through Yi Chunfeng's boundless great Tao, Tian Wufa's face darkened as he coldly questioned. You talk too much nonsense. Yi Chunfeng ignored him and slashed at him with the giant spirit sword. Tian Wufa waved his arm, forcibly blocking the giant spirit sword. At the same time, a blinding white light shot out of Yi Chunfeng's sea of soul. The heaven-grade sword soul flew out and slashed at Tian Wufa from close range. Bang! Caught off guard, Tian Wufa was forced back by the heaven-grade sword soul. A deep sword wound was left on his arm and blood gushed out. Human brat, you've infuriated me. Having his arm wounded by the heaven-grade sword soul completely enraged Tian Wufa. He roared furiously and stimulated the mysterious power in his body, causing his strength to soar. In an instant, He surpassed the limit of a 6-star celestial lord and touched upon the 1-star celestial god realm, posing a fatal threat to Yi Qinfeng. Chapter 1667. A 1-star celestial god. When he sensed Heaven Wufa's transformed strength, Yi Qinfeng couldn't help but reveal a grave expression. He was completely capable of defeating a peak 6-star Dao Lord, but the difference in strength between a god and a god was simply too great. If he wanted to defeat Heaven Wufa, he would need to borrow the power of Mo Ling. It's over. Celestial God's 100 Warriors. Now that he was a 1-star celestial god, Heaven Wufa gripped the low-quality heaven-piercing divine sword and used his strongest move to attack Yi Qinfeng. As he swung his sword, a terrifying Dao intent manifested into all sorts of weapons that sought to obliterate Yi Qinfeng's body. Spatial 100 Layers Seal. Yi Qinfeng took a small step back as he used all his strength to derive the laws of space. In an instant, 100 layers of seals formed in front of him to block Heaven Wufa's celestial god's 100 warriors. Crack, 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 crack. The powerful attacks of the 100 warriors caused the 100 layers of seals in front of Yi Qinfeng to shatter. As for Yi Qinfeng, he used the 100 layers spatial restriction to block the attack and flew into the air, dodging Yi Qinfeng's killing move. Spatial Dimension. Yi Qinfeng's body continued to flicker with spatial energy, and a massive spatial fissure appeared above his head, transforming into a powerful dimensional decapitator. Like a crescent moon descending from the heavens, it slashed toward Heaven Wufa with astonishing might. Boom! Heaven Wufa swiftly swung his arm, the sword of light in his hand shattering the spatial dimension Yi Qinfeng had summoned as he rapidly approached Yi Qinfeng. 8 trigrams disc seals space. As he got close to Yi Qinfeng, Heaven Wufa immediately made the 8 trigrams disc expand and seal space in an attempt to trap Yi Qinfeng. Godless Sword. The moment the 8 trigrams disc sealed space, Yi Qinfeng summoned the Demon Sealing Sword. His body fused with the Demon Sealing Sword, transforming into a pitch-black sword energy that could annihilate all. As the sword stabbed forward, space instantly darkened. Heaven Wufa sensed danger from the terrifying sword intent, and he raised the sword of light to meet the attack. Ka. Heaven Wufa's celestial god 100 battle weapon and Yi Qinfeng's soulless sword fiercely clashed, their terrifying energies constantly tearing apart the fabric of space. True Spirit Dragon Fighting Fist. When Yi Qinfeng was unable to attack Tian Wufa, he multitasked. He raised the power of his physical body to the maximum and punched at Tian Wufa, scattering his attack. Just as the fist was about to land on Tian Wufa's body, an incomparably hard black shield appeared in front of him, blocking the attack of the true spirit fighting dragon fist. Following that, a shocking power erupted from his body as he slashed out with his sword once again, slicing through the soulless sword and slashing towards Yi Qinfeng with undiminished power, forcing Yi Qinfeng to dodge. In the instant that Yi Qinfeng dodged, Heaven Wulin suddenly closed in, interweaving several sword images that enveloped Yi Qinfeng and slashed at him. Swish! Yi Qinfeng's body moved, and the flow of time around him suddenly sped up as he narrowly dodged Heaven Lawless' attack. Traceless Sword Slash. After Yi Qinfeng dodged this attack, Heaven Lawless slashed out one sword light after another, endlessly slashing at Yi Qinfeng. Spatial 100 Layers Restriction. Facing the traceless sword slash, Yi Qinfeng continued to use the laws of space, forming 100 layers of restrictions in front of him, delaying the attack and dodging the killer move. I want to see how many moves you can dodge. Yi Qinfeng dodged all of his killer moves, completely infuriating Heaven Lawless. He wielded the Extreme Light Sword and controlled the 8 trigrams plate to attack Yi Qinfeng, completely suppressing his attack. Although his attacks were suppressed, Yi Qinfeng did not panic. Moreover, he intentionally hid the secret of the Demon Sealing Sword. He did not awaken the demon spirit, relying on the boundless Tao energy from the primordial blood to resist Heaven Lawless' ferocious attacks. Time ticked by. Yi Chunfeng and Heaven Lawless fought fiercely in the valley, terrifying destructive energy sweeping through the surroundings and flattening large swaths of the valley. Boom! Heaven Lawless became one with his sword, slashing apart the Qiankuan sword array and viciously slashing at the demon sealing sword that Yi Chunfeng had raised above his head. Terrifying energy slammed into Yi Chunfeng's body, knocking him from the air and smashing a massive crater into the ground. However, Yi Chunfeng's physical body was extremely strong. Without waiting for Heaven Lawless to attack, he flew out of the cave and clenched his teeth, continuing to block Heaven Lawless' ferocious attack. Although Heaven Lawless was relying on his trump cards to send Yi Chunfeng flying again and again, worsening his injuries, as time passed, the energy in his body began to fade. He was barely able to use the power of a one-star celestial god. And Yi Chunfeng had been waiting for this moment. As long as Heaven Lawless' strength fell back to that of a peak 6-star celestial lord, he was confident that he would have the last laugh. Celestial God's 100 battle soldiers. As his strength continued to decline, Heaven Lawless' attacks grew fiercer and fiercer. He wanted to use this chance to defeat Yi Chunfeng before the power of his trump card ran out. But Yi Chunfeng's tenacity exceeded his expectations. With the 100 layers shackles protecting him, his repeated attacks were unable to heavily injure Yi Chunfeng. After another incense stick's worth of time, Heaven Lawless' trump card vanished, and his strength fell back to that of a peak 6-star celestial lord. And the moment his strength fell, Yi Chunfeng ignored his injuries and launched a fierce counterattack. Yi Chunfeng continued to send out purple lightning. Streaks of lightning streaked across the sky and bombarded Tian Wufa. As Heaven Lawless used his powerful attacks to shatter the violet bolts of lightning, Yi Chunfeng suddenly got close and slashed down with the demon sealing sword. Heaven Lawless took in a deep breath, pouring all his Tao energy into the extreme light sword. He used a series of powerful attacks to clash with the god-slaying sword that stole the light of the world. Chaos Divine Wood. Break. Just as Tian Wufa was relying on his immense strength to forcefully block Yi Chunfeng's soulless sword, the primal Chaos Divine Wood floated out of Yi Chunfeng's body. It flickered with primal chaos 5 elements light as it lashed out at Tian Wufa's chest. After devouring the myriad withering ancient wood, the Chaos Divine Wood had become even more terrifying, reaching the level of a high-grade transcendent saint artifact. Boom! The 8 trigrams plate that Heaven Lawless had summoned was sent flying by the 5-colored crown of the Chaos Divine Wood. Sensing how terrifying the Chaos Divine Wood was, Heaven Lawless instinctively tried to dodge. But at this moment, the 9-layered black pagoda appeared above his head, unleashing the 9-layered pressure that pressed down on his body and slowed his evasion. In the next moment, the swaying 5-colored treetop of the Chaos Divine Wood lashed out fiercely at his chest, shattering his defenses and sending him flying several thousand meters away. His entire chest was a blur. After suffering this attack, Heaven Lawless had almost lost his ability to fight. He unwillingly glanced at Yi Chunfeng, clenched his teeth, and used Heaven's escape to flee. "Where do you think you're going?" Seeing that Heaven Lawless was fleeing, Yi Chunfeng summoned his sword wings and pursued with all his strength, wanting to eliminate this great enemy. But Heaven Lawless was too fast, and Yi Chunfeng's injuries were too severe. In less than half an incense stick's worth of time, Heaven Lawless was nowhere to be seen, escaping Yi Chunfeng's pursuit. Chapter 1668. After losing track of Tian Wufa, Yi Chunfeng immediately controlled the blood to conceal his aura, and then he found a secluded lake amidst the boundless mountains. He entered the lake and entered the universe realm. "Qingfeng, are you alright? What happened to Wufa that day? Did you defeat him?" Xia Wendy's heart tightened when she saw the heavily injured Yi Chunfeng return to the universe realm, and she immediately went forward to ask. "I naturally wouldn't let him off since he dared to target you." Yi Chunfeng smiled lightly and said with a confident smile, "But I didn't shatter his identity token and allowed him to escape. I knew you wouldn't disappoint me." Xia Wendy gazed lovingly at Yi Chunfeng, and then she withdrew a pure white handkerchief and gently wiped off the blood on his face and the corner of his mouth. Matsi, the sacred realm of battles is too dangerous. Cultivate here, and we'll go look for the spirit fish once our strengths have improved further. Even though he defeated Tian Wufa, his strength still shocked Yi Chunfeng to the extreme. In order to deal with the dangers that could appear at any moment, Yi Chunfeng intended to cultivate in the universe realm for a period of time after he found Xia Wendy and cultivated his body to the second level. Alright. Xia Wendy nodded, and then she withdrew the daimization flower she'd just obtained. She plucked the petals that contained the Grand Tao and swallowed them. She refined the Tao insight within the petals and improved her connate constitution while charging into the second star Tao Lord realm. While Xia Wendy was cultivating, Yi Chunfeng came to the side of the Vajra sacred tree and spat out his true spirit sacred flame. He continued to refine the Vajra sacred tree into liquid essence and swallowed it into his stomach to cultivate the 9 transformations. In next to no time, over a year had passed, and the sacred realm of battles had been open for almost 2 years. Yi Chunfeng and Xia Wendy had cultivated for 10 years within the 10 times accelerated flow of time, and they'd both improved their cultivation and combat strength. After refining the daimization flower, Xia Wendy had broken through to the second star Tao Lord realm, and her born Tao constitution had become even stronger. Although Yi Chunfeng hadn't made a breakthrough, he had refined the adamantine iron sacred tree, causing his physical body to undergo a qualitative transformation. He had cultivated to the second firmament of battle physique, and his physical strength had reached the level of a mid-grade true spirit saint artifact. His physical strength had exceeded 7 billion. Not long after Yi Chunfeng cultivated his battle physique to the second firmament, he suddenly felt a strong demonic power in his universe realm. He was overjoyed and quickly came to the side of the space-swallowing insect that had completed its qualitative change and evolved into an inferior ancestral beast. Space Swallower, you've finally evolved. Yi Chunfeng couldn't help but smile as he looked at the space-swallowing bug that was more than 10 times his size. I can evolve so quickly thanks to the ancestral beast's blood essence that my master found for me. Otherwise, it would take me a long time to evolve again. The Space Swallower opened its mouth full of teeth and said, Space Swallower, since you've evolved, then do me a favor. Let's work together and see if we can open the 4th level of the universe realm. After Yi Chunfeng had broken through to the 3rd star Tao Lord realm, he'd tried to open the 4th level of the universe realm but failed. However, the Space Swallower's evolution might allow it to pass through the restrictions and help him open the 4th level of the universe realm. If he could open the 4th level of the universe realm and obtain the treasures within it, then Yi Chunfeng felt that he might have a chance to fight a God Realm expert. Alright, I'll try my best. The Space Swallower nodded, and then it followed Yi Chunfeng to the end of the 3rd level of the universe realm. The 4th level, open. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and summoned the 4 heaven-rank Tao diagrams, and then he poured surging golden Tao energy into the powerful spatial restriction and tore it apart with all his might. Space Swallower. The restriction fused with the golden Tao energy that Yi Chunfeng had poured into it, and it trembled violently. The Space Swallower opened its sharp fangs and swallowed the restriction with all its might. The Space Swallower constantly suffered backlash from the restriction as it swallowed it. However, after breaking through to the ancestral beast realm, the Space Swallower had become extremely strong, and it was able to completely endure the backlash from the restriction as it bit through the restriction bit by bit. As expected, the Space Swallower has evolved into an ancestral beast and can bite through the universe realm's restriction. Yi Chunfeng was overjoyed when he noticed that more and more cracks had appeared on the restriction and a gap had been bitten open by the Space Swallower. He continued to pour his Tao energy into the restriction and forcefully tore open the gap. After around a day, the space swallower had bitten open a gap that was around the height of a person. With a command in his heart, Yi Chunfeng passed through the gap and entered the fourth level of the universe realm. After he entered the fourth level of the universe realm, the restriction vanished, and a completely new world appeared before Yi Chunfeng's eyes. Although the fourth level of the universe realm was only 1/10 the size of the third level of the universe realm, the scenery here was much more beautiful, and the flow of time was 20 times faster than the outside world. That waterfall is immortal dew. When Yi Chunfeng looked around the fourth level of the universe realm, he was completely stunned. He discovered that the waterfall in the distance was actually the immortal dew, which was rarely seen in the outside world. Beside the immortal dew pond, there were stalks of spiritual herbs that were over 1,000,000 years old. Many of them were already alive and had intelligence. 3 restriction light balls. When Yi Chunfeng was strolling in the fourth level of the universe realm, he suddenly discovered 3 balls of restriction light floating in midair in a celestial bamboo forest that was shrouded in clouds and mist. Break! Yi Chunfeng used his mind to communicate with the restriction light balls and forcefully broke through the restriction, obtaining the treasure in the first restriction. 5-color stone. As he gazed at the 5-color stone that was only the size of an egg yet weighed 50,000 kilograms, Yi Chunfeng suddenly revealed dense pleasant surprise, and he guessed the origins of this stone. My luck wouldn't be so good, right? I actually obtained a chaos stone in the fourth level of the universe realm. Yi Chunfeng restrained the excitement in his heart and communicated with the second restriction light ball with his mind, and he obtained a dark gold universe ring. When he utilized the God-Eater brain to break open the universe ring, he noticed that the ring contained a huge amount of ancestral beast cores, blood essence, and skirich pills. Moreover, there were even 10 top-grade skirich pills that were priceless and would cause great competition in the Void God world. The heavens are really helping me. With so many skirich pills and 20 times faster flow of time, perhaps I'll be able to cultivate to the 5th star Downlord realm before the end of the preliminary round. Coupled with the Devil Seal sword that's inscribed with Chaos Stones, I might really have a chance to seize first place. Yi Chunfeng muttered with excitement in his heart. What's in the third restriction light ball? Yi Chunfeng restrained his excitement and forcefully broke open the third restriction light ball, and he noticed that a Longan-sized medicinal pill that only had a single pill mark was sealed within the restriction light ball. It seemed to be very simple and ordinary. When he plucked this medicinal pill into his hand, he immediately sensed the powerful medicinal strength contained within this medicinal pill. A low-grade ancestral pill. Yi Chunfeng was even more excited because he'd never imagined that he would obtain an ancestral pill that was extremely important to him here. Perhaps he would be able to heal the injuries of Torch Dragon with this ancestral pill. At that time, their joint forces would be sufficient to deal with the dangers that might arise after the 100-battle competition. I wonder what other treasures are sealed within the fourth level of the universe realm. Yi Chunfeng closed his eyes and silently sensed the fourth level of the universe realm. He sensed the last restriction light ball in the depths of the fourth level, and his figure flashed over. Chapter 1669. What could be sealed in this restriction light ball? Yi Chunfeng's expression froze as he looked at the ball of light that was several meters tall. He immediately used the power of the universe realm to forcefully break open the restriction, revealing the treasure within. This is, looking at the Tao tablet that was several feet tall and completely black, as if it had infinite magical power that could steal one's soul in an instant, Yi Chunfeng was deeply shocked. If his soul was not strong enough and he had the God-Eater brain to guard it, he would have been injured when he tried to peek into this black Tao tablet. God-Eater brain, deduce. Although this Tao tablet was very strange, Yi Chunfeng felt that it was not simple. He controlled the God-Eater brain to penetrate into this Tao tablet and endured the invasion of the strange power in the Tao tablet to see through its secret. The void Tao tablet was all-encompassing, and only those with great wisdom could understand its mysteries. Once understood, the benefits would be endless. When the God-Eater brain penetrated into the depths of this Black Tao tablet, a large amount of information flooded into Yi Qinfeng's mind, allowing him to understand the truth of this Tao tablet. Who left behind this universe realm? There are so many good things in it. Yi Qinfeng took a deep breath and could not help but sigh. Space Swallower Bug, can you continue to penetrate the isolation restriction? Yi Qinfeng was very interested in the treasures in the 5th level of the universe realm. He had a feeling that the treasures in the 5th level of the universe realm were extraordinary. If he could obtain them, it would not be difficult for him to defeat a divine-grade expert. Okay, I will try. The Space Swallower Bug appeared under the isolation restriction and opened its sharp teeth, trying to bite through the isolation restriction. After being bitten by the space-swallowing bug, a powerful force suddenly surged out of the isolation restriction and directly sent the space-swallowing bug, which had evolved into an ancestor beast, flying. A large number of cracks appeared on its sharp teeth, and a large amount of blood seeped out. Space Swallower Bug, are you okay? Seeing that the Space Swallower Bug was sent flying hundreds of meters away by the isolation restriction, Yi Qinfeng moved and appeared beside it. He gave it a true Spirit Saint pill and asked with concern. I'm fine, but with my current strength, I'm afraid I can't bite open the isolation restriction spell. The space-swallowing insect shook its head. Space-swallowing insect, this is for you. Cultivate well. I believe that we will be able to open that isolation restriction very soon. Yi Qinfeng was not stingy. He took out the Qiankuan ring he had just obtained and took out all the ancestral beast blood essence and gave it all to the space swallower. Subsequently, with a single thought, Yi Qinfeng sent Xiao Wendai, the Black Rock Emperor and the Blood Skeleton, who were cultivating in the universe realm, to the 4th layer of the universe realm. So beautiful, the 4th level of the universe realm is actually so beautiful. After entering the 4th level of the universe realm, Xia Wendi was deeply attracted by the beautiful scenery in front of her. A charming smile appeared on her delicate face. Hundun, Dragon Blood Lion, these are for you. Break through to the ancestor realm as soon as possible. Yi Qinfeng gave the demonic pellet of the ancestor beast to the divine beast of chaos and the Dragon Blood Lion. Roar, don't worry boss, I will recover to the ancestor realm very soon. When that happens, I will know who my enemy is. The divine beast of chaos roared excitedly. He opened his mouth and swallowed the precious demonic pellet of the ancestor beast into his stomach. He then entered the immortal bamboo forest to refine them. Matzi, Black Rock, Blood Skull, these heaven-piercing saint pellets are for you. From today onwards you can cultivate here. Yi Qinfeng took out a number of heaven-piercing saint pellets and gave them to Xia Wendi and the others. He said, the time flow here is 20 times faster than the outside world. Try to reach the peak of the main stage as soon as possible. Thank you, young Master Yi. Looking at the heaven-piercing saint pellets that Yi Qinfeng gave them, the Black Rock Emperor and the Blood Skull could not help but feel excited. They knew how precious the heaven-piercing saint pellets were. The value of each heaven-piercing saint pellet was unimaginable. If it were to spread to the heaven domain, it would be enough to cause all the major factions to fight over it. However, Yi Qinfeng had generously given them several heaven-piercing saint pellet. This filled them with gratitude. They rejoiced that they were able to follow Yi Qinfeng. After giving out a large number of heaven-piercing saint pellets, Yi Qinfeng went to the place where the infernal god Torch Dragon was sleeping and woke him up. Junior, are you in trouble again? The heavily injured Torch Dragon woke up from his deep sleep. He opened his deep and powerful eyes and looked at Yi Qinfeng. His voice was as loud as a drum. No, I woke you up this time to give you a gift. The infernal god Torch Dragon was very important to Yi Qinfeng. He was not stingy with the extremely precious low-grade Ancestor Pellet and took it out. Ancestor Pellet, You really found the ancestor pellet? Looking at the plain and simple pellet in Yi Qinfeng's hand, the infernal god Torch Dragon immediately recognized that it was the ancestor pellet he needed the most. He opened his mouth and swallowed the ancestor pellet without hesitation. Senior, I'll give you these 2 heaven-piercing saint pellets as well. With a thought, Yi Qinfeng took out 2 more heaven-piercing saint pellets and gave them to the infernal god Torch Dragon. Junior, I will remember your kindness. When I recover from my injuries, I will fulfill my promise and protect you for 1,000 years. The godfiend Torch Dragon swallowed another 2 supreme-grade heaven-piercing saint pills and fell into a deep sleep again. Yi Qinfeng did not disturb the infernal god Torch Dragon. He returned to the 4th level of the universe realm and took out the demon sealing saber. He forcefully awakened the demon spirit within the demon sealing saber. Demon spirit, take a look at this stone. Is it the chaos stone you mentioned? Yi Qinfeng took out the stone that was emitting 5-colored divine light and said, Damn, where did you find this chaos stone? The demon spirit exclaimed as she took out the demon sealing saber and looked at the chaos stone that was emitting divine light. With this chaos stone, you should be able to help me inscribe the ancestral marks on the demon sealing sword. Yi Qinfeng said. Yes, but this chaos stone isn't big. With my strength, I can only inscribe 100 ancestral marks on it and make the demon sealing sword reach the level of an upper transcendent saint weapon. The demon spirit said. With your help, can the demon sealing sword reach the level of a heaven-piercing saint weapon in a short time? Yi Qinfeng said with a sly smile. Yes, but that will cause great damage to my body. The demon spirit sighed softly and said, So, I won't help you unless I have no other choice. I know I won't trouble you easily. Yi Qinfeng nodded and said, I'll leave the demon sealing sword and the chaos stone to you. Alright, I'll be able to help you inscribe the ancestral marks in 10 years at most. Because the demon spirit and Yi Qinfeng were in the same boat, she could only help Yi Qinfeng unconditionally and refine the chaos stone with all her strength so that she could inscribe numerous profound ancestral marks on the demon sealing sword. There are still over 8 years before the first round of the 100 Battles martial competition. I'll cultivate here for 5 years and improve my strength before I head out to hunt my opponents. Yi Qinfeng deeply felt that his strength was insufficient, and he urgently wanted to improve his strength as soon as possible. So, he decided to utilize these 5 years of time to cultivate. On the other hand, 5 years in the outside world was equivalent to 100 years in the 4th level of the universe realm. Coupled with a huge amount of heaven-piercing saint pills, it was sufficient for him to break through to the 4th star or 5th star Downlord realm. Looks like I still have a chance to seize the first position in the finals of the 100 Battles martial competition. Yi Qinfeng took a deep breath and arrived before the Void Dao steel. He withdrew a low-grade heaven-piercing saint pill and swallowed it, and then he circulated the Soul Eater technique to swiftly refine and absorb it. He improved his strength under the 20 times flow of time and charged into the 4th star Downlord realm with all his strength, while controlling the Soul Eater brain to comprehend the Dao steel. Chapter 1670. Time flew by and soon another 2 years had passed. At a remote corner of the holy domain of battles, a 1st star Downlord who wore black martial Dao clothes, had a tall, pure, and cute figure, and a pink and tender face that was tainted with bloodstains sat on the branch of an ancient tree that was over 100 m tall. She was biting on a blood-red dragon blood king ginseng in an extremely unladylike manner while looking towards the distance. This beautiful little girl was the spiritual fish that Yi Qinfeng had been searching for. After the trials in the alien battlefield, the spiritual fish had grown up and became beautiful and charming. She had also grown taller. There are more than 3,500 people now. I wonder what my ranking will be with my current results. The spiritual fish glanced at the number on her identity token and swallowed the entire dragon blood ginseng king into her stomach. She quickly refined the Ginseng King's enormous spirituality and healed the hidden injuries in her body that had been caused by years of fighting. Suddenly, an ear-piercing sound rang out. A sharp arrow pierced through the sky and shot towards her at an extremely fast speed. Buzz! At the critical moment, a crescent-shaped blade shot out from the spiritual fish's body and broke the arrow that was attacking her, protecting her body. Transcendent Saint Artifact. It really is a Transcendent Saint Artifact. At this moment, a man who was as strong as an ox and was covered in thick scales walked out of the forest. His eyes were as big as bells, and there was a tattoo of a totem on his left face. He held a huge black bow in his hand and looked greedily at the dimensional sacred weapon that was floating above the spiritual fish's head. Ox King, my information is correct, right? This damned girl has a Transcendent Saint Artifact. At this moment, a skinny man, who was not even as tall as the burly man's legs, with a pair of sharp claws embedded in his arms, and a cold light flashed in his inverted triangular eyes, followed closely behind. He looked at the spiritual fish's sexy body with a burning gaze. Yes, that scythe is a Transcendent Saint Artifact. The Ox King nodded as he kept thinking about how to seize the Transcendent Saint Artifact. Sensing the powerful aura emitted from the Ox King, the spiritual fish rolled her eyes. Her slender legs lightly tapped on the branches as she flew away at an extremely fast speed. Where do you think you're going? The Ox King and the skinny man saw the spiritual fish suddenly escaping and sped up to chase after her. They wanted to forcefully suppress her and seize the precious Transcendent Saint Artifact. Roar! The three-star demon Lord Ox King relied on its speed to close the distance between it and the spiritual fish. Its robust body suddenly expanded as it let out a series of earth-shattering roars, bombarding the spiritual fish. Buzz! After being attacked by the Ox King's roar, the spirit fish's soul trembled. Its flying speed was greatly affected, and it fell into the dense forest. The Ox King continued to close the distance between them. Following that, the Ox King's body emitted a terrifying demonic energy, splitting into a ferocious black ox shadow. It trampled on the void and charged towards the spiritual fish. Primordial Clone. At this critical moment, the original clone of the spirit fish, which was cultivated by the original embryo of Tao, fended off the attack launched by the Black Bull Shadow with its indestructible body, and resolved the danger. Three snakes sealing the heavens. As a massive amount of destructive power filled the air, the skinny man suddenly appeared. Three snake shadows appeared from his body and flew into the air, sealing the space and attacking the spirit fish. Dimensional Sacred Weapon / After being attacked by the three snake shadows, the spiritual fish immediately controlled the dimensional sacred weapon floating above her head to slash at them. With one slash, the three snake shadows were destroyed. She then stepped on the 8 divine ape shadows and flew away. Little girl, you can't escape. Suddenly, a virtual light flashed in front of the spiritual fish. The skinny man, who was a 2-star demon lord, suddenly appeared in front of her. He quickly struck out with his arms, and his sharp claws pierced towards the spiritual fish's chest. Seeing the sharp claws piercing into the spiritual fish's body, a powerful bloodline power erupted from the spiritual fish's body. The gentle expression on her face was swept away. She burst out with a shocking force to block the sharp claws and forced the skinny man to retreat. Following that, the dimensional sacred weapon slashed down under the spiritual control of the spiritual fish. It pierced through the air and slashed towards the skinny man. Although he had dodged the attack of the dimensional sacred weapon with his strange body movement, the power of the sacred weapon still injured him. Like a kite with a broken string, he fell from the air to the ground. Monkey. Seeing the skinny man being attacked by the residual power of the dimensional sacred weapon and almost losing his ability to fight, the Ox King was furious. He burned his powerful Tao core and released a terrifying demonic power to attack the primitive doppelganger. He wanted to force the primitive doppelganger to retreat and rescue the skinny man. The Ox King was a 3-star demon lord, but the power of the primitive embryo of Tao was even more terrifying. After being refined by the spiritual fish, the primitive embryo of Tao had the strength of a 4-star Tao lord. Coupled with its indestructible body, it easily blocked the fierce attack of the Ox King. While the primitive doppelganger was blocking the Ox King, the spiritual fish stepped on the 8 divine ape shadows and appeared in front of the skinny man. No. The skinny man, who had been severely injured by the dimensional sacred weapon due to his carelessness, was scared out of his wits when he saw the spiritual fish suddenly approaching him. However, the spiritual fish had been greatly tempered after being tempered in the alien battlefield. She was unmoved by the begging of the skinny man. She stomped her foot fiercely, and the terrifying power directly shattered the skinny man's identity token and sent him out of the realm of 100 battles. 3,820. After defeating the skinny man, the number of the token on the spiritual fish's waist increased rapidly. It had exceeded 3,800 people. However, this result only placed her in the 40th place. The number of opponents defeated by the top 10 had all exceeded 10,000 people. Primitive doppelganger, kill him! The spiritual fish revealed her ferocious side. She handed the dimensional sacred weapon to the primitive doppelganger and asked him to attack the Ox King with all his strength and kill him with all his strength. The Ox King's strength was extraordinary, and his combat strength had soared in the battle mode. However, the primitive doppelganger was indestructible. Coupled with the dimensional sacred weapon from before, his attacks were instantly suppressed. The terrifying dimensional sacred weapon kept tearing apart his defensive trump card and severely injuring his body. As his injuries continued to worsen, the Ox King had the intention to retreat. He wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. However, at this moment, the spiritual fish stepped on the 8 divine ape shadows and intercepted him. In an instant, the spiritual fish exploded with more than 5 billion pounds of strength and bombarded him. The terrifying attack shattered his attack and forced him to retreat. How can your strength be so great? Feeling the explosive power of the spiritual fish, the Ox King's eyes widened as he exclaimed in disbelief. Big idiot, don't you think you talk too much nonsense? The spiritual fish no longer panicked and replied domineeringly. You are pretending to be weak. The Ox King's face darkened as his escape route was blocked by the spiritual fish and the primitive doppelganger. He was basically sure that the spiritual fish was pretending to be weak so that she could take advantage of his carelessness to eliminate him. The spiritual fish didn't answer the Ox King's question. Instead, she activated the bloodline of the divine ape shadows and punched at him. The terrifying fist radiance twisted the void and bombarded the Ox King's arms that were blocking in front of him. The impact numbed his arms and worsened his injuries. Primitive doppelganger, kill him! After forcing the Ox King back with a punch, the spiritual fish immediately ordered loudly. Just as the primitive doppelganger wielded the dimensional sacred weapon and slashed at the Ox King, who had lost control of his body, an invincible spear radiance pierced through the void like a meteor falling to the mortal world and stabbed at the primitive doppelganger. Although the primitive doppelganger used its indestructible body to block this terrifying spear radiance, it lost control of its body and couldn't launch a fatal attack on the Ox King. This allowed it to escape the calamity. In the next moment, a 6-star demonic lord in a white robe appeared. His skin was covered with thick scales, and his dark green hair was draped over his shoulders. He was holding a long spear and was a 6-star demonic lord. The spiritual fish was in danger. Chapter 1671. Young Master Lin, save me! Looking at the man who suddenly appeared, the severely injured Ox King was overjoyed and shouted for help. I want this heavenly saint treasure. The white-robed man ignored the Ox King. His attention was completely attracted by the dimensional sacred weapon. Primordial clone, let's go. Sensing the terrifying aura from the white-robed man, the spiritual fish sensed danger. She decisively gave up the idea of killing the Ox King and fled with the primordial clone. Do you think you can escape? The white-robed man curled his lips and revealed a sinister smile. A mysterious ancient scroll with mountains and rivers appeared on his body and blocked the spiritual fish and the primordial clone. In the next moment, powerful offensive Tao patterns appeared on the ancient scroll and blasted towards the spiritual fish and the primordial clone, not giving them a chance to escape. Roar! Roar! Facing the ancient scroll's attack, the primordial clone didn't dodge. He let out a long roar into the sky and used the dimensional saint weapon to face the attack with all his might. The saber slashed open the space and shattered the offensive Tao patterns reflected by the ancient scroll. The saber slashed onto the ancient scroll and shook it. While the primordial clone was attacking the ancient scroll, the white-robed man suddenly attacked the spiritual fish and wanted to capture her alive. Real God blood shadow block it. At this critical moment, the spiritual fish burned her real God bloodline and formed a terrifying real God blood shadow to block the white-robed man's attack. Qilin Seal. Seeing the real God blood shadow that was twisting the void and shaking heaven and earth, the white-robed man frowned and quickly formed a powerful Qilin seal. It was as though a Qilin had descended to the world. It trampled on the space and shattered the real God blood shadow formed by the spiritual fish. Divine Ape bloodline burn. The real God blood shadow was destroyed. The spiritual fish endured the pain caused by the backlash of her bloodline and burned her divine ape bloodline. She raised her strength to the peak and performed the divine ape bloodline. God perplexing fist. With a punch, a terrifying divine ape shadow appeared in the spiritual fish's body. The terrifying attack was like an endless torrent and blasted towards the white-robed man with the power to destroy the world. Primordial clone, let's go. At this moment, the primordial clone held the dimensional sacred weapon and defeated the ancient scroll of mountains and rivers. The spiritual fish didn't hesitate. She stepped on the 8 divine ape shadows and the primordial clone. Divine ape bloodline, who are you? The white-robed man's strength had reached the peak of a 6-star demon lord. He was far stronger than the spirit-fish duo. In less than 3 breaths of time, he had blocked the spirit-fish duo and asked coldly, "Buzz." What answered him was the primordial doppelganger slashing at him with the dimensional sacred weapon. "You're not going to tell me? Once I capture you, I'll have many ways to make you speak." The white-robed man's face sank, and he held the demon emperor's spear that was covered in ancient scales as he moved forward to greet the black-robed man. Although the demon emperor's spear in the hands of the white-robed man was a half-transcending heaven-saint weapon, the strength of the primitive doppelganger was limited, and it was unable to unleash the most powerful attack of the dimensional saint weapon. After a head-on collision, the attack of the primitive doppelganger was blocked. The spiritual fish lost control of its body due to the terrifying recoil and was forced to retreat. Surrender obediently. In front of this young master, you can't escape. Relying on his powerful strength to block the attack of the primitive doppelganger, the white-robed man pursued and launched a fierce attack at the spiritual fish and the primitive doppelganger. As the white-robed man's strength was too terrifying, the spiritual fish couldn't resist even after burning 2 bloodlines and cooperating with the primitive doppelganger. Just as the spiritual fish was about to be injured, a shocking blade light suddenly slashed down from the void. It carried a destructive force as it slashed at the white-robed man. "Who is it?" The white-robed man's face changed slightly. He held the demon emperor's spear in his hands and defended with all his strength. However, the sudden slash of the blade light was extremely terrifying. It forced him to take 3 steps back and cracked the ground under his feet. "Leave him to me. You guys leave this place quickly." A pale, bloodless man with a stiff expression suddenly appeared in front of the spiritual fish and urged through voice transmission. "Many thanks." At this critical moment, the spiritual fish didn't stay for long. It quickly fled in another direction with the primitive doppelganger. "Where do you think you're going?" the white-robed man shouted explosively as he stabbed the demon emperor's spear at the mysterious man with the intention of forcing the mysterious man to retreat and pursue the spiritual fish. However, the mysterious man's strength was extraordinary as well, and he'd attained the 6th-star Downlord realm. He held a heavy stone saber in his hand to resist the mysterious man's attack with all his strength, and they fought intensely within the dense forest, causing the mysterious man to be utterly unable to pursue the spiritual fish. Huff, huff, we've finally escaped. The spiritual fish and the primitive doppelganger fled for an unknown period of time before they entered a secluded gorge and gasped for breath. If it wasn't for the mysterious man's assistance, the spiritual fish knew that she would probably have no choice but to crush her identity token. Alas, my strength is still too weak. How can I improve my strength as soon as possible? The spiritual fish withdrew a natural treasure from her universe ring, and then she opened her rosy little mouth and took a large bite to recover the heavy injuries and exhaustion she'd suffered. "Big brother Chingfeng, have you ascended to the sky region? I miss you so much. Where are you?" At this moment, the spiritual fish really missed Yi Chunfeng, who'd protected her from the wind and rain. With Yi Chunfeng by her side, she wasn't afraid of any danger. "Who is it?" The spiritual fish swallowed a natural treasure and was recuperating under the protection of the primitive doppelganger when her sharp senses suddenly detected an unfamiliar aura. She immediately opened her tightly shut eyes and spoke with vigilance. "Don't be nervous. I have no ill intentions." A low voice resounded. The mysterious man who just fought the white-robed man head-on and rescued the spiritual fish suddenly appeared in the gorge. Moreover, there was a deep spear wound on his chest, but no blood flowed out. "You don't come over. Don't blame me for being impolite if you dare to come close." Even though the mysterious man had saved the spiritual fish didn't trust him. The spiritual fish held the dimensional sacred artifact in her hand as she gazed coldly at him and warned loudly. "Dimensional sacred artifact, primitive Tao foundation. My senses weren't wrong." The mysterious man's inflexible face revealed special emotions as he gazed at the dimensional sacred artifact in the spiritual fish's hand and the primitive doppelganger that was glaring at him. He took a deep breath and said, "Are you from the Dark North Mountain?" "You are from the Sky Tribe." Seeing that the mysterious man had recognized the dimensional sacred artifact and primitive Tao foundation, the spiritual fish mistook him for someone from the Sky Tribe. She became even more nervous as she tried to think of a way to escape. "Don't be nervous. I am also from the Dark North Mountain. My master is the Lord of the Dark North," the mysterious man said shockingly. "Do you think I will believe your nonsense?" The spiritual fish said coldly. "Words can be faked, but bloodline can't be faked." As he spoke, the mysterious man activated the bloodline power in his body. A blood shadow of a true god that was much weaker than the spiritual fish appeared on his body. "Blood shadow of a true god. Who are you?" The spiritual fish widened her eyes as she looked at the blood shadow of a true god that appeared on the body of the mysterious man. Her heart was in turmoil. "I am now called Dao Wuxian. However, my original name was Ming Qianxin," the mysterious man said. "Ming Qianxin, you are my father's first disciple." The spiritual fish widened her eyes as she said in disbelief, "No, if you are my father's first disciple, you can't be here." The 100 Battles competition had a strict age restriction. If this man was Ming Qianxin, he was already over 10,000 years old. It was impossible for him to participate in the 100 Battles competition. "The reason I can participate in the 100 Battles competition is because my master left me a primitive Tao foundation." Ming Qianxin revealed many secrets, including how his life was hanging by a thread and how his body was severely injured by the Sky Tribe. In the end, He used the primitive Tao foundation to cultivate for countless years and was reborn. Because he had abandoned his body and used the blood shadow of a true god to cultivate in the primitive Tao foundation, Ming Qianxin was not restrained by the 100 battles competition. You are really the senior brother. Ming Qianxin revealed many secrets that were hard for outsiders to know. In addition, he had the bloodline of a true god and the aura of the primitive Tao fetus. The alertness in the spiritual fish's eyes disappeared, and it completely believed him. Junior sister, how is master? Ming Qianxin was very concerned about the Dark North Lord's situation and asked nervously. Father is still alive. He is cultivating in a mysterious place. When he breaks through to the Tao God stage, he will ascend to the heaven region and take revenge on the Sky Tribe. The spiritual fish said. That's great. I knew the heavens wouldn't destroy my Dark North mountain. Ming Qianxin let out a sigh of relief as a rare smile appeared on his old-fashioned face. When Master returns, we can conquer the heaven region again. Just as the two were talking in the valley, Ming Qianxin's expression changed slightly. Not good. The demons are here. We have to leave quickly. Then, Ming Qianxin took the spiritual fish and the primitive avatar and flew away from the valley. Chapter 1672. Do you think you can escape? The white-robed man with a gloomy expression rode on a 5-star demon lord black Qilin that was more than 30 meters long and looked like a moving mountain. He chased after Ling Yu and the others. Junior sister, you guys go first. I'll help you block them. Ming Qianxin sensed that the white-robed man was getting closer and closer. He decisively turned back and wanted to buy time for Ling Yu and the others to escape. No, we'll go together. We won't leave you behind. Ling Yu didn't escape by herself and chose to fight alongside Ming Qianxin. Junior sister, this person is very strong. As long as you leave, he can't do anything to me. Ming Qianxin knew how terrifying the white-robed man was. If he didn't have the primitive Tao embryo, he would have been killed by the white-robed man. Senior brother, I'll lend you the dimensional sacred weapon. Let's fight side by side. The spiritual fish was burning with flames. It lent the lower-grade transcendent saint weapon, the dimensional saint weapon, to Ming Qianxin. Sigh, all right then. As he spoke, the white-robed man rode the black Qilin over. Ming Qianxin had no choice but to take the dimensional sacred weapon and face the white-robed man. Slash! Ming Qianxin waved his arm, and the dimensional sacred weapon turned into a huge scythe shadow that cut through space and slashed towards the white-robed man. Ancient Scroll of Landscape block. Facing the attack of the dimensional sacred weapon, the white-robed man immediately summoned the ancient Scroll of Landscape to block and neutralize the attack. Roar! The black Qilin roared and instantly transformed into its human form. It held a pair of powerful axes that were at the level of supreme-grade true spirit sacred weapons and slashed towards Ling Yu. Bang! The primitive clone stood in front of Ling Yu and used his indestructible body to neutralize the black Qilin's axes. True God bloodline, divine ape bloodline, burn! While the primordial clone was repeatedly defeated by the ink Qilin, the spirit fish had ignited 2 of its bloodlines and instantly improved its strength to the 3rd star Daolord realm, and it ceaselessly blasted numerous inherited divine abilities with shocking might towards the ink Qilin. Divine ape bloodline ability. Who is she? When the white-robed man saw the spiritual fish continuously using the divine ape lineage's ability, he revealed a look of astonishment. However, the temptation of the dimensional sacred weapon was too great, so he had no intention of letting go of the spiritual fish. He constantly displayed his powerful trump cards and fought fiercely with Ming Qianxin in the void. Due to the destruction caused by the fierce battle between the two of them, the sky of the sacred realm of 100 battles was constantly destroyed. Large amounts of ancient trees were constantly shattered and turned into nothingness. Battle form. The Black Kirin was infuriated by the original embryo of Tao. It let out a furious roar and transformed into its most powerful battle form. It strengthened its attacking power and launched fierce attacks on the original embryo of Tao and the spirit fish, completely suppressing their attack. Kirin's shadow of destruction. In order to restrain the spiritual fish's attack, the Black Kirin immediately performed the Kirin clan's inherited divine ability. Numerous Kirin true shadows appeared, roaring in the heavens and earth as they charged towards the spiritual fish duo. Bang! The true god blood shadow summoned by the spirit fish could not withstand the attack of the Kirin destroyer shadow and shattered. The spirit fish was sent flying hundreds of meters away. A large amount of blood gushed out of his mouth. Junior sister. Holding the dimensional sacred weapon, Ming Qianxin continuously launched fierce attacks on the white-robed man, forcing him to retreat. Seeing that the spiritual fish was injured, his heart tightened and he wanted to rescue her. Kirin Destroyer's Spear. Seizing the moment when Ming Qianxin was distracted, the white-robed man instantly merged with the demon royal spear in his hand. Fusing with the terrifying demon Wei, he stabbed at Ming Qianxin like a fearless Kirin. Although Ming Qianxin used the dimensional sacred weapon to forcefully break the Kirin Destroyer's spear of the white-robed man, his rescue mission was also interrupted by Ming Qianxin, so he could not withdraw. Little girl, go to hell! The Black Kirin, whose bell-sized eyes flashed with ferocity, roared. He leaped up high and launched a fatal attack on the severely injured spiritual fish with his battle axe. He wanted to severely injure her in one go. At the critical moment, the primitive doppelganger appeared again and used its indestructible body to block the Black Kirin's terrifying double-axe attack. Boom! An earth-shattering sound rang out. The Black Kirin's double-axe attack landed heavily on the primitive doppelganger's body. The terrifying power smashed half of the primitive doppelganger's body into the hard ground, causing cracks to appear. I want to see who can save you. After smashing the primitive doppelganger, the Black Kirin stared at the pale spiritual fish and continued to attack her. You are courting death. Seeing that the spiritual fish was in danger, Ming Qianxin disregarded his own safety and forcibly withdrew to attack the Black Kirin. Go to hell. Seizing this opportunity, the white-robed man injected a large amount of Tao will into the ancient scroll of landscape. Streaks of powerful Tao inscriptions flew out from the ancient scroll and bombarded Ming Qianxin's body at an extremely fast speed. They tore through his body's defense and severely injured him. Ming Qianxin did not care about the continuous injuries his body suffered. He held the dimensional sacred weapon and slashed at the Black Kirin with all his might. The dimensional sacred slash dragged a long trail of Tao will light and cut a gap in the air. The terrifying power frightened the Black Kirin and instinctively dodged to the side. Boom! The entire ground cracked. The terrifying power spread between heaven and earth and injured the Black Kirin. He lost control of his body and fell to the side. Go to hell! Ming Qianxin held the dimensional sacred weapon and severely injured the Black Kirin. The white-robed man merged with the long spear in his hand again. He pierced through the void and stabbed at the Black Kirin, forcing him to use the dimensional sacred weapon to defend himself. Boom! The white-robed man's spear pierced the dimensional sacred weapon. The terrifying power passed through the weapon and into Ming Qianxin's body. The spear will forced him to retreat and he spat out a large amount of blood. After stabbing Ming Qianxin with his spear, the white-robed man continued to attack. He continued to unleash powerful killing moves, continuously attacking Ming Qianxin and worsening his injuries. Senior brother. The spiritual fish saw that Ming Qianxin was forced back by the white-robed man's unstoppable attacks in order to save her. She cried out in grief. Ignoring her injuries, she once again condensed the blood shadow of the true god to attack the white-robed man. The primitive doppelganger also broke through the ground at this time. It exploded with shocking attacks and attacked the white-robed man. Get lost! The white-robed man roared and changed into his battle form. The terrifying power shook heaven and earth and blocked the attacks of the blood shadow of the true god and the primitive doppelganger. Junior sister, hurry up and leave. It will be too late if you don't leave now. Although Ming Qianxin had a dimensional sacred weapon, it was not his weapon. He could not use the most powerful attack of the dimensional sacred weapon. As his injuries worsened, he was burning with anxiety and shouted at the spirit fish. Leave. None of you can leave. The white-robed man showed a trace of viciousness. He controlled the ancient scroll of landscape to expand and cover a radius of a few miles. He forcefully trapped the spiritual fish and the others in the ancient scroll of landscape. The next moment, he held the demon royal spear and continued to attack Ming Qianxin. He wanted to break Ming Qianxin's identity token and snatch the dimensional sacred weapon. Chapter 1673. Gotcha. When the white-robed man struck out with his spear and sent Ming Qianxin, who was holding a dimensional sacred artifact, flying, a crack suddenly appeared on the ancient scroll of landscape. A man wearing a black martial arts robe and standing on a mysterious sword diagram appeared. Big Brother Ching Feng. Blood trickled from the corner of her mouth, and her face was pale. When she saw the person who suddenly appeared, her eyes widened in shock. She felt like she was dreaming. Yi Chunfeng, who had sensed the bloodline of a true god, saw that Lingyu was severely injured. His body flashed, and he appeared beside Lingyu as if he had teleported. He picked her up and quickly fed her a true spirit sacred pill. Lingyu, treat your injuries well. I'll go take revenge for you. Yi Chunfeng could sense that Lingyu was severely injured. His deep eyes shone with a fierce light as he looked at the white-robed man with a solemn expression. He slowly stood up and said, "Yes, Big Brother Qingfeng, help me teach that big bad guy a lesson. He's too bad." Lingyu nodded her little head. "Don't worry. I'll make him kneel and apologize to you." Yi Chunfeng had cultivated in the 4th level of the universe realm for 40 years and refined a large amount of skyspan pills. Now, he had broken through and become a 4-star Downlord. He was completely capable of crushing an ordinary 6-star Downlord. "Who are you?" Seeing Yi Chunfeng tear apart the ancient scroll of landscape so easily, the white-robed man couldn't help but frown and ask in a low voice. Yi Chunfeng stepped forward with heavy steps and said domineeringly, "Weaklings don't deserve to know who I am." Roar. When the heavily injured Black Qilin saw that Yi Chunfeng ignored him and walked past him, he roared furiously. He burned his powerful Dao core and attacked Yi Chunfeng with his battle axe. "Be careful!" Ming Qianxin's expression changed when he saw the Black Qilin sneak attack Yi Chunfeng. He shouted a warning. Buzz. A white light flashed in Yi Chunfeng's mind as the heaven-level sword spirit flew out of Yi Chunfeng's sea of soul and turned into an invincible sword slash. With a shocking destructive force, it shattered the Black Qilin's dual axes and sent it flying, leaving a deep sword wound on its body. Bang! When the life of the 5-star demon Lord Black Qilin was hanging by a thread, the token on his body shattered, and he disappeared from the Sage of 100 Battles realm. Heaven-class Sword Soul. Looking at the white sword soul that broke the Black Qilin's attack and slashed him out of the 100 Battles Saint realm, the white-robed man immediately recognized that this white sword soul was a heaven sword soul that was extremely difficult to cultivate. "Alright, I'll give you face today. I'll let it go today." Although Yi Chunfeng was 2 realms lower than him, the white-robed man could smell a strong sense of danger from Yi Chunfeng. He wanted to retreat and leave. "You can leave, but you have to kowtow to the spirit fish until her anger subsides." Yi Chunfeng stepped out with sword steps and suddenly blocked in front of the white-robed man as he spoke in a domineering manner. "Sir, I advise you to leave some leeway. I am the young lord of the Qilin race, Qi Huang. Provoking my Qilin race will not do you any good." The white-robed man looked at Yi Chunfeng with a gloomy expression and brought out his background. "You speak too much nonsense. Right now, you have 2 choices. either you kneel down and kowtow to apologize, or I'll hold you down and kowtow to you. Yi Chunfeng ignored Qi Huang's identity and background and said coldly, "You are courting death." The proud and arrogant Qi Huang was completely infuriated by Yi Chunfeng and couldn't control the anger in his heart. He held the demon imperial spear and stabbed at Yi Chunfeng. Qi Huang's spear pierced through Yi Chunfeng's body at a close distance. Not good. Qi Huang wasn't happy when his spear pierced through Yi Chunfeng, but he was shocked instead, and he instinctively dodged to the side. However, at the instant he dodged, the heaven-rank sword soul slashed towards him under the control of Yi Chunfeng's will, and it slashed onto the demon imperial spear that he instinctively blocked above his head. Pooh! When Qi Huang held the demon imperial spear in his hand to resist the heaven-rank sword soul's attack head-on, Yi Chunfeng swiftly stomped his foot down, and a terrifying jumbo footprint that revealed terrifying Dao insight stomped down forcefully onto Qi Huang's body, causing him to be blasted flying while a large amount of blood sprayed from his mouth. How could his combat strength be so formidable? Monstrous waves arose in Ming Qianxin's heart when she witnessed the scene of Yi Chunfeng heavily injuring Qi Huang with ease. She was shocked that the combat strength revealed by Yi Chunfeng, who was a 4-star Daolord, was actually comparable to a peak 6-star Daolord. Ancient Scroll of Landscape, obliterate. Qi Huang swiftly swallowed a true spirit saint pill to suppress the heavy injuries on his body, and then he swiftly deduced Dao insight and fused it madly into the ancient Scroll of Landscape. It formed numerous Dao markings that possessed shocking might that blasted towards Yi Chunfeng. Devil Seal Sword, break! With a command in his heart, Yi Chunfeng summoned the Devil Seal Sword that Mo Ling had painstakingly inscribed with 100 ancestral markings with chaos stones, and then he swung it to intercept Qi Huang's attack. After inscribing 100 ancestral markings, it was just as Mo Ling had said. The Devil Seal Sword had attained the level of a high-grade transcendent saint artifact. It stabbed forward with ease, and it shattered numerous Dao markings that possessed shocking might before it pierced through the ancient Scroll of Landscape like a hot knife through butter. No! Qi Huang cried out with pain when he saw the Devil Seal Sword pierce through the ancient Scroll of Landscape, and he was even disappointed by Yi Chunfeng's combat strength. Blood flight. After experiencing Yi Chunfeng's might, Qi Huang didn't dare to stay any longer. He ignited all the blood essence in his body at all costs and wanted to use blood flight to escape from this dangerous place. However, Yi Chunfeng was faster. With 4 times the time acceleration, he appeared in front of Qi Huang in the blink of an eye, blocking his escape route. Go to hell! Qi Huang roared and instantly fused with the demon imperial spear in his hand, turning into a raging Qilin spear shadow that pierced towards Yi Chunfeng at close range. Infinite chaos. Yi Chunfeng didn't dodge Qi Huang's spear attack. Instead, he used a divine ability that he had comprehended after 40 years of comprehending the Void Dao Steel and combining it with his life treasure, the Chaos Divine Wood, to counter the attack. With a thrust of his sword, a towering Chaos Divine Wood phantom that could support heaven and earth emerged from his body. It emanated endless chaos energy that merged with the Devil Seal Sword, amplifying the attack of the sword. Ka. After receiving Yi Chunfeng's infinite chaos sword attack, the demon imperial spear in Qi Huang's hand immediately emitted ear-piercing cracking sounds. The terrifying chaos sword intent slashed his body, tore through his defense, and sent him flying. If Yi Chunfeng had not shown mercy, this sword strike would have been enough to shatter his identity medallion and cause him to be eliminated. PFFF. Qi Huang, who was seriously injured, fell heavily to the ground as a large amount of blood spurted out from his mouth. When he struggled to get up, a white chain flashed in front of his eyes. Like a spirit snake, it bound his body, making him unable to move. Let me go, or my Qilin clan will never let you go. After being bound by the white dragon rope and unable to move, a trace of panic appeared in Qi Huang's heart. He ignored the injuries on his body and shouted loudly. Crack! As soon as Qi Huang's threat ended, Yi Chunfeng, who had descended from the sky, crushed his ankle. The immense pain made him cry out. Following that, Yi Chunfeng mercilessly crushed his knee, grabbed him by the neck with one hand, and made him kneel in front of the spiritual fish. Just you wait, my Qilin clan will never let you go. As the prince of the Qilin clan, Qi Huang had never suffered such humiliation. He roared in humiliation and self-detonated his identity token. He was eliminated in the most humiliating way. 8,700 people. After defeating Qi Huang and the Black Qilin, Yi Chunfeng's identity token had reached 8,700 people. He had suddenly rushed from unknown to the top 20 and immediately attracted the attention of many people. Chapter 1674. Big Brother Chingfeng, you've become so strong. I almost don't recognize you. After witnessing Yi Chunfeng's power, crushing Qi Huang's kneecaps and forcing him to kneel, Ling Yu was deeply shocked by Yi Chunfeng's strength. She wanted to know what he had been through all these years. I almost don't recognize you either. You've become taller and more beautiful. Looking at the tall and beautiful Ling Yu, Yi Chunfeng revealed a faint smile. Oh right, Big Brother Chingfeng, why are you here? Until now, the spiritual fish still felt as if it was in a dream. I heard from Nebula Pavilion that you're participating in the 100 Battles competition, so I came to find you. Yi Chunfeng explained briefly. Junior sister, this is, Ming Qianxin asked softly as she sized up Yi Chunfeng's battle prowess. He's my brother, my favorite person. Ling Yu's eyes curved into a crescent shape as she introduced softly, Big Brother Chingfeng, this is my big senior brother, Ming Qianxin. Hello, senior brother Ming. Yi Chunfeng revealed a faint smile. I don't dare to be your senior brother. If you don't mind, you can just call me by my name. After seeing Yi Chunfeng's shocking strength, Ming Qianxin was deeply impressed by his strength. Oh right, before I ascended to the heaven region, I saw Senior Ming. His injuries have healed and he's only one step away from breaking through to the one-star Tao God realm. I think it won't be long before you two can meet. Yi Chunfeng revealed an important piece of information to Ling Yu and Ming Qianxin. That's great. I can't wait to see my father, Ling Yu said excitedly. Junior martial sister, since you have young Master Yi to protect you, senior martial brother will not stay by your side. I will continue to hunt and sharpen myself. Sensing the spiritual fish's dependence on Yi Chunfeng, Ming Qianxin was relieved and prepared to leave. Brother Qianxin, these 2 pills are for you. They should be helpful for your injuries. Yi Chunfeng stopped him and gave him a middle-grade Tong Tian Holy Dan and a high-grade Tong Tian Holy Dan. This is too precious. Ming Qianxin never thought that Yi Chunfeng would be so generous, actually giving him 2 Transcendent Holy Dan, one of which was even a high-grade Transcendent Holy Dan. Brother Qian Xian, there's no need to be so polite. Yi Chunfeng smiled and said, Senior Ming has done me a favor, so I should repay it. All right, I will remember this favor. I will definitely repay it in the future. Ming Qianxin was not a bashful person. He sealed the 2 Saint Elixir pills in a jade box and flew away after thanking him. Let's go, Ling Yu. I'll bring you somewhere. With that said, Yi Chunfeng brought the spiritual fish to the 4th level of the universe realm. Brother Chingfeng, what is this place? Why is it so beautiful? The spiritual fish was instantly deeply attracted as it gazed at the beautiful scenery that seemed like paradise. So many divine treasures of the heavens and earth, and even spirit-form divine treasures. Yi Chunfeng smiled and spoke generously, Ling Yu, this is the 4th level of the universe realm. The flow of time here is 20 times faster than the outside world. You can cultivate here from now on. You can consume the divine treasures of the heavens and earth that grow here as you please. It will be sufficient for you to cultivate to the peak of the 6-star Tao Lord realm. Thank you, Brother Chingfeng. You're the best. The spiritual fish held Yi Chunfeng's cheek and kissed him fiercely as it spoke with delight. After finding the spiritual fish, Yi Chunfeng no longer had anything to worry about. Moreover, there were still over 5 years before the holy realm of battles closed, so he decided to cultivate in seclusion for a period of time in the 4th level of the universe realm and charge into the 5-star Daolord realm with all his strength. If he was able to attain the 5-star Daolord realm, and relied on the numerous heaven-defying trump cards he possessed, then he would possess the strength to go against a 1-star divine rank expert. However, he was still far from being capable of defeating a 1-star divine rank expert. Right when Yi Chunfeng and the others were cultivating in the 4th level of the universe realm, a mighty uproar arose in 100 Battle City because of Yi Chunfeng's explosive rise in the rankings. Yi Chunfeng's name has appeared again. What exactly is Yi Chunfeng? Why is his ranking so strange? Yeah, the rankings of ordinary people rise steadily, and very few people rise by leaps and bounds like him. However, since he was able to charge into the top 20 in one go, it's sufficient to show that he defeated an extremely formidable opponent. Look quickly. Qi Huang's name has vanished from the top 20. Looks like Yi Chunfeng probably defeated Qi Huang. My God! Qi Huang is a 6-star demon lord, yet Yi Chunfeng was actually able to defeat him. Could it be that he's a peak 6-star Dao Lord? When they saw Qi Huang, who was ranked at the 19th position, vanish from the rankings, the experts of the various powers that observed the changes on the rankings every single day were shocked. On the other hand, Yi Chunfeng's name had spread throughout 100 Battle City. However, along with the passage of time, Yi Chunfeng, who'd been cultivating in the 4th level of the universe realm, didn't make another move, and his ranking was gradually being surpassed. Look quickly. The first position on the 100 battle rankings has changed again. It's been seized by Yu Yeming once more. The preliminary round this time is too intense. The first position on the 100 battle rankings changes numerous times, practically every single day. I wonder who will be able to look down upon all the geniuses and seize the first position after the preliminary round ends. It's hard to say, but the top 8 can be practically confirmed. If nothing unexpected happens, then Yu Yeming, Huang Wutian, Tian Qinyun, Tian Wufa, Mo Chen, Gu Hong, Ling Yusin, and He Guangdao will probably be able to join forces and enter the finals to seize the first position in the 100 battles martial competition. Even though the competition for the first position was intense, the top 8 positions hadn't changed much since the beginning. Yu Yeming and the others firmly dominated the top 8 positions, and they'd never allowed anyone else to charge into the first group. In next to no time, another 4 years had passed. 4 years in the outside world was 80 years within the universe realm. After these 80 years of cultivation, Yi Chunfeng, who'd refined and consumed a huge amount of Skirich divine pills and herbs of the heavens and the earth, had finally attained the peak of the 4-star Daolord realm, and he was only a step away from breaking through into the 5-star Daolord realm. On the other hand, Xia Wendi and the others had obtained a qualitative leap in their strengths after cultivating for over 100 years and relying on Skirich divine pills and other treasures. Xia Wendi had attained the 4-star Daolord realm, the Blood Skull had attained the 6-star Daolord realm, the Black Rock Emperor had attained the 4-star Daolord realm, and the Spirit Fish had attained the 4-star Daolord realm as well. The Chaos Divine Beast, Jin Qing Dragon Bloodlion, and the Space Devourer Bug had refined and absorbed a huge amount of ancestral beast cores and blood essence, and all of them had broken through into the mid-rank of ancestral beast cores. On the other hand, the Fiend God Torch Dragon had refined and absorbed the ancestral beast cores and 2 top-grade Skirich divine pills. Not only had his injuries been completely healed, the strength he'd accumulated for countless years had erupted at the moment his injuries were healed, and he'd broken through into the 2-star Dao God realm. His strength had become even more terrifying. Chaotic Lotus Petal, refine and absorb. When he felt that the time was right, Yi Chunfeng withdrew the Chaotic Lotus Petal and directly swallowed it, and then he circulated the soul devourer technique to swiftly refine and absorb it. The chaotic lotus petal's greatest effect was to break through. Under the formidable impact of the chaotic lotus petal, Yi Chunfeng's bottleneck grew weaker and weaker, while more and more cracks appeared on the bottleneck. In the end, Yi Chunfeng completely absorbed the chaotic lotus petal, and he relied on the formidable chaotic energy to charge through the bottleneck in his cultivation in one go and break through into the 5-star Downlord realm. At the same time that his physical strength improved extremely swiftly, his combat strength improved a step further. There's still a little over a year before the preliminary round of the 100 battle competition comes to an end. It's time for me to go kill my enemies and charge into the top 8. Yi Chunfeng consolidated his cultivation in a simple manner, and then he didn't waste any more time before he left the universe realm and started hunting. Chapter 1675. There's someone ahead. Yi Chunfeng, who'd summoned the sword wings under the swift detection of the God-Eater brain, had sensed 3 4-star Devil Lord realm experts ahead of him. At this moment, they were holding devil weapons that possessed extraordinary might as they besieged a woman who was covered in blood, held a pair of phoenix feather sabers, and had powerful legs. Little beauty, don't struggle pointlessly. But if you can make us brothers feel comfortable, then perhaps we'll be in a good mood and not eliminate you. A man who wore a black robe, had an obvious scar at the corner of his eye, and stood on a pair of wheels of light revealed a teasing smile as he gazed at the woman's sexy body and spoke with ill intentions. Don't even think about it. The woman bit her lips tightly as she endured the humiliation in her heart, and she ceaselessly deduced Tao insights as she made her final struggle. Unfortunately, she was outnumbered, and her injuries were getting worse and worse. She was faintly unable to resist the attacks of the 3 devil race experts. Right when she was about to unwillingly detonate her identity token, an unimaginably swift sword light suddenly tore through the sky and split the heavens and the earth apart, and it slashed towards the 3 4-star Devil Lord realm experts. This sword strike was too swift to the point it caused the despairing woman to feel dazzled and unreal. In the next moment 2 shrill cries of pain resounded. 2 4-star Devil Lord realm experts couldn't dodge in time and were annihilated by this swift sword light, and the identity tokens on their bodies directly exploded. Even though the last 4-star Devil Lord realm expert had escaped calamity, his body was still injured by the terrifying sword might, and he fell heavily to the ground. Who is it? The 4-star Devil Lord realm expert covered his body that was bleeding madly as he struggled to get up. At this moment, an extremely enormous footprint descended from the sky, and it carried the force of an enormous weight as it fiercely stomped on his body, causing his identity token to explode and almost stomped him into meat paste. More than 12,000 people. I wonder where this result will rank. Yi Chunfeng glanced at the number of people on his identity token and muttered to himself. Under the grateful gaze of the woman, he flew towards the distance and searched for his next target. Young master, you're too formidable. You actually instantly killed that peak 5-star Tao Lord realm expert of the human race. If this situation continues to develop, then young master will definitely be able to charge into the top 10 and bring glory to our ghost race. 2 ghost race experts who wore robes embroidered with black skulls and had emaciated figures but strangely large heads spoke flatteringly as they gazed at a tall and extraordinary 6-star Devil Lord. The top 10 isn't my target. My target is the top 8. The eyes of the black-clothed man flashed with an incomparably strong ambition as he spoke in a low voice. But unfortunately, your destined is the top 8. Just as the black-clothed man finished speaking, a domineering voice sounded from the bushes in the distance. Yi Chunfeng carried the giant spiritual sword, which was more than 10 meters long, and walked over with heavy step. You're courting death. The expressions of the 2 ghost race experts sank, and they attacked at the same time with extreme tacit understanding and attacked Yi Chunfeng. They opened their mouths when they approached Yi Chunfeng, and then 2 supreme-grade true spirit artifacts that possessed extraordinary might flew out from their mouths and blasted towards Yi Chunfeng from both sides. Heaven rank sword soul. Break. After comprehending the void Tao steel for over 100 years, Yi Chunfeng had obtained a new comprehension of the sword Tao, and it strengthened the might of his heaven rank sword soul. In an instant, 2 extremely powerful rays of light broke through the heaven rank sword soul and slashed down with shocking might. They directly blasted the 2 supreme-grade true spirit artifacts into pieces, and the 2 5-star devil lords who weren't able to dodge in time even had their identity tokens shattered by the remaining might of the heaven rank sword soul, causing them to be miserably eliminated. A heaven rank sword soul. So you're that person who killed my younger brother. I've been looking for you for a long time. The black-clothed man's eyes turned gloomy as he gazed at the heaven-rank sword soul that floated above Yi Chunfeng, and he spoke in a ghastly voice. He was the #1 genius of the ghost race who declared that he would eliminate Yi Chunfeng and take revenge for Gui Xiaofeng, Gui Xiaodi. You want to take revenge for your younger brother? You're probably too weak to accomplish that. After he broke through to the 5-star Daolord realm, Yi Chunfeng's combat strength had improved by over 100 times when he just entered the Sage realm of battles, and he wasn't someone that a 6-star devil lord like Gui Xiaodi could go against. Is that so? Then, let me see what you're capable of. Gui Xiaodi was blindly confident in his own strength, and he laughed coldly as a strand of formidable aura emanated from his body. It transformed into a savage skull that emanated horrifying wails as it attacked Yi Chunfeng. Don't use such an attack so as to avoid making a fool of yourself. Yi Chunfeng stood proudly as he gazed at the skull that whistled towards him, and then he tapped lightly with a finger towards the skull formed from ghastly energy. Crack! 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 The skull that Gui Xiaodi had formed trembled violently when it faced Yi Chunfeng's attack, and then a large number of cracks spread out on its surface before it finally shattered into pieces. You really do have some ability, but you're still far from being able to defeat me. Gui Xiaodi's pupils constricted as a quasi-transcendent saint artifact spear that was embedded with a skull appeared in his hand. The heavenly spear was like a black wyrm that could overturn the clouds and rain as it stabbed towards Yi Chunfeng. Primordial blood. Ignite. Yi Chunfeng's pupils constricted as he ignited his primordial blood and instantly raised his strength to the 6-star Daolord realm. His strength was amplified by 3 times as he swung the colossal soul sword to meet Gui Xiaodi's attack. Bzzz. The skeletal spear and the giant spirit sword collided, and a force of over 2 billion genes erupted from the giant spirit sword, bending the skeletal spear. The terrifying force caused Gui Xiaodi's arm to tremble incessantly, and a large amount of blood appeared on his skin. What great strength! Gui Xiaodi's expression changed slightly. He hadn't expected Yi Chunfeng's physical strength to be so shocking. He decisively withdrew his skeletal spear and attacked with a fierce, killing move. Dimensional slash. Yi Chunfeng waved his right arm, and the space above Gui Xiaodi's head suddenly split open. A crescent moon descended from the heavens, carrying with it the power of space as it slashed towards Gui Xiaodi, preventing him from attacking Yi Chunfeng with all his strength. Gui Xiaodi relied on his absolute strength to shatter the dimensional slash, and the 4 heavenly Tao diagrams appeared around Yi Chunfeng's body and transformed into the Boundless Grand Tao. Boundless Grand Tao. Yi Chunfeng activated the Ether's incantation to the extreme and unleashed the 4 heaven-level Tao diagrams. Like an endless river, it shot toward Gui Xiaodi, whose expression had changed slightly. Gui Xiaodi immediately increased his strength to the extreme, and used all his killing moves to defend against the Boundless Grand Tao's attack. Unfortunately, his strength was far inferior to Yi Chunfeng's. The killing moves that he continuously launched were easily crushed by the vast expanse Tao. He was completely unable to block the fatal attacks of the vast expanse Tao. Gui Shaodi had no choice but to use his final trump card when he saw the boundless Grand Dao's attack. He summoned the Myriad Ghosts diagram, and used it to block the boundless Grand Dao's fatal attack. Low-grade Transcendent Saint Artifact. I didn't expect you to have such a treasure. Yi Chenfeng glanced at the Myriad Ghosts diagram that had dispelled the boundless Grand Dao's attack. Not only did he not show a trace of fear, but he also revealed an extremely powerful battle intent. It's over. Die. After witnessing Yi Chenfeng's fearsomeness, Gui Shaodi disregarded the injuries on his body and continuously spat out dozens of mouthfuls of blood essence into the 10,000 Ghost Scroll, awakening its artifact's spirit and activating its strongest power. It turned into a black curtain and directly trapped Yi Chenfeng inside the 10,000 Ghost Scroll. Chapter 1676. 10,000 Ghosts Burning God. After successfully devouring Yi Chenfeng, Gui Shaodi revealed a ferocious expression. His hands moved rapidly, forming a series of complicated hand seals that merged into the 10,000 Ghosts painting. He controlled the painting's artifact spirit to release tens of thousands of evil ghosts to attack Yi Chenfeng, wanting to burn him to ashes. Although the treasure is good, it's useless against me. Yi Chenfeng ignited 2 true saint flames and enveloped himself, burning the evil ghosts that approached him and turning them into pure soul power for the god-devouring brain to devour. 2 true saint flames. How did he do it? Gui Shaodi didn't expect Yi Chenfeng to subdue 2 true saint flames and suppress the evil ghost's attack. His face became gloomy. However, the 10,000 Ghost picture was his final trump card, and also his greatest weapon. He continued to spit out mouthfuls of pure blood essence into the 10,000 Ghost picture, activating the 10,000 Ghost picture's attack power, forming layers upon layers of heavenly might as he attacked Yi Chenfeng with all his might. Under the suppression of the heavenly power, the 2 true saint flames became dimmer and dimmer. Gradually, they were suppressed by the 10,000 Ghosts painting's power and were extinguished. Woo-woo! At this moment, tens of thousands of evil spirits turned into gusts of cold wind and forcefully penetrated the defense of the true spirit holy fire. They drilled into Yi Chenfeng's body and bit his body, wanting to devour his organs. Yi Chenfeng did not care about the attacks of the evil spirits formed by the 10,000 Ghost picture. He just sat there quietly, allowing the large number of evil spirits to enter his body. How can this be? What treasure is inside his body? Gui Shaodi sensed a large number of evil spirits entering Yi Chenfeng's body, but they were immediately destroyed by a powerful force. Then, they were devoured by a strange force. Gui Shaodi sensed something unusual, and his face turned gloomy. He realized that he had really underestimated Yi Chenfeng. Yi Chenfeng's methods and strength far exceeded his imagination. This person must be killed. Feeling that Yi Chenfeng was extraordinary, Gui Shaodi became even more determined to kill him. He continued to increase the power of the Myriad Ghosts diagram, wanting to refine Yi Chenfeng to death. However, he did not know that Yi Chenfeng was using the 10,000 Ghosts portrait as nourishment. As he controlled the Chaos Divine Wood to suppress the evil ghosts that had entered his body, he also controlled the God-Eater Brain to devour them, accelerating the God-Eater Brain's transformation. Soon, a day had passed. Motherf *Ker, how is this possible? Gui Shaodi had been refining the 10,000 Ghost picture for an entire day. He was exhausted, but he found that Yi Chenfeng was perfectly fine. This made him feel that something was amiss. Just as Yi Chenfeng was hesitating over whether or not he should take back the Myriad Ghost picture, a powerful soul power spread out from his sea of soul. After refining a large number of evil spirits in the 10,000 Ghosts picture, the God-Eater Brain finally completed its transformation and condensed another soul devourer brain. Phew, the God-Eater Brain has finally evolved. Yi Chenfeng was overjoyed when he sensed that the God-Eater Brain had evolved into 3 soul fragments. Thank you so much, Gui Shaodi. Yi Chenfeng suddenly opened his eyes and summoned the Chaos Divine Wood to attack the 10,000 Ghosts picture. Ka. Under the attack of the Chaos Divine Wood, cracks appeared on the 10,000 Ghosts picture, and a terrifying recoil surged into Gui Xiaodi's body, injuring him. What kind of treasure is this? The 10,000 Ghosts picture was the most powerful treasure of the Ghost Clan. But under the attack of the Chaos Divine Wood, cracks appeared on it. This set off a storm in Gui Xiaodi's heart. Without thinking, he decisively took back the 10,000 Ghosts picture and tried to escape. Do you think you can escape? Yi Chenfeng's sword flashed, and his speed increased tenfold in an instant, intercepting Gui Xiaodi. Die! Gui Xiaodi roared and spat blood essence into the 10,000 Ghosts picture again. A large number of offensive runes appeared on the picture and attacked Yi Chenfeng. But under the attack of the Chaos Divine Wood, the Chaos Divine Wood shattered one after another, and the Chaos Divine Wood continued to attack the myriad ghosts' portrait, forcing young Emperor Gui to retreat. Giant Spirit Sword / Shaking the Chaos Divine Wood, Yi Chenfeng's body grew bigger and bigger, and he slashed at Gui Xiaodi with the Giant Spirit Sword. With one slash, more than 2 billion jin of power erupted. The terrifying Giant Spirit Sword carried with it the power to split a mountain and slashed at the 10,000 Ghosts picture above Gui Xiaodi's head. Rumble! Endless explosions were heard inside the 10,000 Ghost picture. The power went through the picture and into Gui Xiaodi's body. He fell from the sky to the ground, creating a big crater. True Spirit Dragon Fighting Fist. After injuring Gui Xiaodi with one slash, Yi Chenfeng continued to unleash dragon fighting fists, shaking heaven and earth. The attacks continued to worsen Gui Xiaodi's injuries. 10,000 Ghosts greeting. Yi Chenfeng's attacks were too fierce, and Gui Xiaodi could only use the 10,000 Ghosts picture to make a final struggle. A large number of ghosts broke out of the 10,000 Ghosts picture and attacked Yi Chenfeng. In a moment, the whole space was surrounded by evil ghosts, and ghostly qi filled the sky. It was like hell on earth. Godless Sword. Gui Xiaodi used the 10,000 Ghosts greeting to attack. Yi Chenfeng's body merged with the Giant Spirit Sword, and he turned into a sword ray that devoured all light. He slashed through the ghosts and stabbed at Gui Xiaodi, who was desperately trying to dodge. But Yi Chenfeng's sword was too fast, and it pierced Gui Xiaodi's body in the blink of an eye. Kacha! A crisp cracking sound was heard. Gui Xiaodi's identity token was shattered. Gui Xiaodi, who had 1 foot in the gates of hell, was teleported out of the 100-battle sacred realm. 28,000, not bad, not bad. I wonder if this number can make it into the top 10. The moment Yi Chenfeng defeated Gui Xiaodi, he found that the number of his identity tokens had skyrocketed. He revealed a faint smile and his body flashed and he disappeared. Just as he expected, Yi Chenfeng's name rushed into the top 10 after defeating Gui Xiaodi. However, he was still more than 10,000 people away from Black Wild Blade, who was in 8th place. After about half a day, Yi Chenfeng, who couldn't find an opponent, returned to the universe mirror. He was ready to fuse with the 3 soul fragments that evolved from the God-Eater brain. He wanted to see what the 3 fragments contained. Fuse! Yi Chenfeng controlled his soul to fuse with the first soul fragment. The process was extremely painful, but Yi Chenfeng's heart was firm, and he endured the pain of the inheritance in his sea of soul being torn apart. After about 3 days, Yi Chenfeng completely fused with the first soul fragment, and his soul also evolved. The laws of time. This first soul fragment actually contains the profound laws of time. Yi Chenfeng's eyes lit up, and he revealed a look of surprise. If he could further understand the time law, it would definitely become his trump card, and he could turn the tide at a critical moment. Holding back his excitement, Yi Chenfeng controlled his soul to fuse with the second soul fragment. Sword Holy Intent. After fusing with the second soul fragment, Yi Chenfeng found that the second soul fragment contained the sword holy intent. I wonder if I can refine my heaven-class sword soul into a saint-class sword soul if I understand this sword holy intent. Yi Chenfeng found that the soul fragment from the God-Eater brain was a timely help, and it was very important to him. What will the memory of the third soul fragment be? Yi Chenfeng took a deep breath, adjusted his internal breath, and controlled his soul to fuse with the third soul fragment. He was very eager to know the mysteries of the third soul fragment. Chapter 1677. The Way of Equipment Manipulation. After fusing with the third soul fragment, a complete set of chants appeared in Yi Chenfeng's mind. This chance was a mysterious way of equipment manipulation. The way of equipment manipulation could control thousands of weapons and instantly unleash the strongest power of weapons and treasures. In other words, even if a divine saint realm expert comprehended the way of equipment manipulation, he could instantly unleash the strongest attack of an ancestral artifact. It could be said to be an extremely abnormal and heaven-defying ability. I didn't expect the God-Eater brain to have such a powerful ability. If I can comprehend it and use it with the demon sealing sword, I wonder what kind of attack I can unleash. Suppressing the excitement in his heart, Yi Chenfeng decided to wait and cultivate in the universe realm for a period of time. While comprehending the three soul fragments, he waited for the arrival of a strong enemy. Let's first comprehend the way of equipment manipulation. After pondering for a while, Yi Chenfeng decided to first comprehend the most heaven-defying way of equipment manipulation, then the sword Tao intent, and finally the time law. After making the decision, Yi Chenfeng removed all distracting thoughts and controlled the transformed God-Eater brain to comprehend the way of equipment manipulation with all his might. 1 day in the outside world was 20 days in the universe realm. In the extremely fast flow of time, Yi Chenfeng continued to deepen his comprehension of the way of equipment manipulation. After an unknown period of time, Yi Chenfeng suddenly opened his tightly closed eyes and woke up from his comprehension. Sure. Yi Chenfeng's remnant soul outside the universe realm unexpectedly felt 3 powerful auras. One of them was Zhan Sure. Zhan Wudi, I advise you to stop your pointless struggle. You siblings won't be able to escape from my grasp. He was wearing a black robe, had a tall and sturdy stature, and his jet-black long hair fluttered in the wind. He was holding a black bladeless heavy saber. This was the pinnacle 6-star demon Emperor Black Wild Saber. He slashed down with his saber, and a terrifying saber light poured down like a waterfall, sending a man wearing golden armor and also holding a saber flying. Brother! Zhan Shurshu's heart tightened as she looked at the man who had smashed into the ground, creating a huge crater and spurting out blood from his mouth. She immediately went to his side and fed him a medicinal pill before helping him up. Sure, don't worry about me. Quickly leave this place. Although Zhan Wudi was seriously injured, his eyes were full of determination. Holding the blood-stained saber, he looked at the arrogant Black Wild Saber and urged him. Brother, let's fight side by side. At worst, we'll be eliminated. Zhan Shurshu looked at Black Wild Blade with hatred, shook her head, and said firmly, Zhan Shurshu, I'll give you and your sister a chance. If you're willing to be my woman, I'll let you go. Black Wild Blade's eyes blazed as he looked at Zhan Shurshu's pure face and tall figure and said in a domineering manner, If you want to fight, then let's fight. Cut the crap. Zhan Wudi took a deep breath. He burned his powerful Tao core at all costs and rapidly increased his strength. Like a wild leopard, he flew into the air. Invincible Saber! Zhan Wudi roared and displayed his self-created saber move. The will of the way and chi and blood in his whole body reached the peak in an instant. An invincible saber that could split heaven and earth fell from the sky, splitting the whole space. Great Sky Demon Art, Devil's Saber. Black Wild Blade didn't dodge Zhan Wudi's ultimate saber attack. he performed the strongest divine sense of the Black Demon clan, which was passed down from the Devil clan in the Void God realm. Boom! The two's ultimate moves collided like two meteorites, setting off boundless waves in the void. In an instant, the vegetation within a radius of several miles was destroyed, destroying the entire void. Saber of the War God / Jean Woody, who was seriously injured, withstood the overwhelming counterforce with his willpower and summoned the treasure of the War Clan, the War God Saber, which was a lower-grade heaven-reaching divine artifact, and slashed at the Black Wild Saber at close range. Finally, you can't help but use the inherited treasure of your War Clan. The Saber of the War God tore through the storm and slashed down aggressively. Black Wild Blade didn't panic. Just as the Saber of the War God was about to slash down on him, a black demon statue appeared on his body and resisted the destructive blow of the Saber of the War God. Puff! Jean Woody's well-thought-out attack was neutralized by the Black Wild Saber. Jean Woody could no longer control his injuries and fell from the air, smashing a big hole in the ground. Black Demon Statue suppress. After severely injuring Jean Woody, Black Wild Blade immediately controlled the Black Demon Statue to suppress the War God Saber, not giving Jean Woody a chance to take back the treasure of the War Clan. Black Wild Blade, don't you dare touch the War God Saber. Jean Chercheur saw that the War God Saber was suppressed by Black Wild Blade and immediately summoned the wounded Black Dragon, roaring and attacking him. Great Sky Demon Art Devil's Shadow. Black Wild Saber was multitasking. He operated the great heavenly magic art and conjured a towering demonic shadow to meet Black Dragon. With one blow, Black Dragon, who was seriously injured, was sent flying. His huge body smashed into the distance. Not bad, not bad. This War God Saber is really not bad. Controlling the Black Demon Statue to suppress the War God Saber, Black Wild Blade revealed a sinister smile. Jean Chercheur, since you don't want to be my woman, then compensate me with this War God Saber. Black Wild Blade, is your Black Demon race going to fight to the death with my War Clan? The War God Saber was the treasure of the War Clan and couldn't be lost. Seeing that Black Wild Blade was going to suppress the War God Saber and take it away, she panicked. Ignoring her injuries, she warned loudly. Jean Woody, do you think my Black Demon race will be afraid of your War Clan? Black Wild Blade revealed a hint of arrogance and said, however, I am more interested in women. If Jean Chercheur can serve me well, maybe my heart will soften and I will return the War God Saber to you. Don't even think about it, Jean Chercheur said angrily, her tall body trembling with anger. Sigh, I gave you a chance, but you didn't cherish it. Black Wild Blade sighed softly and said with an expression as if he had already defeated the Jean siblings. I will give you 10 breaths of time to consider. If you don't give me a satisfactory answer after 10 breaths, then don't blame me for being ruthless and sending you out of here. As for this War God Saber, it will be my spoils of war. Black Wild Blade, if I go with you, will you return the War God Saber to me and let my brother go? Jean Chercheur bit her lips tightly and said in humiliation. The War God Saber was very important to the War Clan. If it was lost, not only would it weaken the War Clan's overall strength, it would also become a stain on the War Clan. No, sister, you will be tortured to death by him. Jean Woody knew how terrifying Black Wild Blade was. If Jean Chercheur submitted to him, Black Wild Blade would definitely make her suffer. Forget it, I gave you a chance, but you didn't cherish it. I wonder if the people of your War Clan will kidnap Jean Chercheur and beg me for the War God Saber if they know that I took it away? Black Wild Blade lost his patience and said coldly. After saying that, he held the low-grade Transcendent Saint artifact, the Wave-Breaker Saint Saber, and slashed open the void. It was like a river falling from the sky, filled with endless saber intent, and swept towards the Jean siblings. Suddenly, a black tower descended from the sky, bringing with it a terrifying 9-fold suppressive force. It suppressed the saber shadow, shattering the terrifying saber intent, and landed in front of Jean Chercheur and Jean Chercheur, helping them resolve this fatal saber attack. Chapter 1678. Who's there? Black Frenzied Blade's face darkened when he saw the 9-story black pagoda that appeared out of nowhere. He looked around and said with a murderous aura, "Black Frenzied Blade, you've really wasted your life by bullying a woman." A domineering voice sounded from above his head. In the next moment, an invincible sword radiance appeared in the void and slashed at him with Tao will like a waterfall. Boom! Black Frenzied Blade blocked the attack with his wave-breaking sacred blade in the void and dissolved the sword radiance. However, the powerful sword will still made him lose control of his body and sink dozens of meters. Infinite chaos. A towering divine tree appeared in the chaotic space. Surging chaotic force gushed out from the divine tree. Its divine might shook the sky. Terrifying energy waves caused the entire space to tremble violently. It was as if the space could not withstand this terrifying energy and could collapse at any moment. Boom! The black demon statue that was suppressing the divine battle blade was sent flying by Yi Chunfeng's infinite chaos attack. At this moment, Zhan Wudi seized the opportunity and quickly summoned back the battle tribe's treasure, the divine battle blade. "Big brother Yi, it's you." Jean Chercheur's despairing face revealed a look of pleasant surprise as she looked at the figure standing in midair, repelling Black Wild Blade with an invincible aura and helping them retrieve the War God Blade. "Chercheur, leave Black Frenzied Blade to me. I'll avenge you." Yi Chunfeng nodded at Jean Chercheur and her brother. He stepped on the void and walked toward Black Frenzied Blade, who had a gloomy expression. "So it's you. I've been looking for you for a long time." Black Frenzied Blade did not expect Yi Chunfeng to appear and was even more surprised by his growth. However, Black Frenzied Blade was confident in his own strength and was not afraid of Yi Chunfeng. "I remember someone who said the same thing to me. Unfortunately, he was almost killed by me and escaped from the battle sacred realm like a dog." Yi Chunfeng said with a smile, "By the way, that person's name is Black Fenggu. Do you know him?" "You eliminated Fenggu." Black Frenzied Blade's eyes were filled with a terrifying light as he said coldly. "Yeah, what's the point of keeping trash like that?" Yi Chunfeng nodded. "I'll kill you." Black Frenzied Blade had a very good relationship with Black Wind Valley. After learning that Black Wind Valley had been eliminated by Yi Chunfeng, Black Frenzied Blade was completely enraged. He let out an angry roar and slashed at Yi Chunfeng with his wave-breaker sacred saber. "Kill me? You're still too far away." As he spoke, Yi Chunfeng ignited the true saint flames and the primordial bloodline, and he instantly improved his strength to the limits of the 6-star Daolord realm. After that, he held the colossal spirit sword in hand as he moved forward to meet Qin Shi's attack, and they entered into an intense battle in midair. Although the giant spirit sword's grade was far inferior to the wave-breaking sacred saber, Yi Chunfeng's explosive strength of over 20 billion jin completely made up for the giant spirit sword's lack of power. The two of them fought fiercely for an incense stick's worth of time. Not only did Yi Chunfeng not fall into a disadvantageous position, but he also gradually suppressed Black Wild Saber's attack. How is this possible? How did his strength increase so much? Black Wild Saber grew more and more shocked as the battle went on. He was unable to believe that Yi Chunfeng had actually cultivated from a 2-star Daolord to a 5-star Daolord in less than 10 years of time. He'd never heard of such an abnormal speed of cultivation. Heaven-grade sword soul. / While Black Wild Saber was shocked, the heaven-grade sword soul flashed out, and it carried a huge amount of Dao insight as it slashed down towards him. Yi Chunfeng had comprehended the sword saint intent for a few years, and his comprehension of the sword soul had risen a level. At this moment, a layer of faint red light had appeared within the heaven-grade sword soul, and its might had risen by over 10 times. It slashed down and shattered the numerous saber images before it slashed forcefully onto the wave-breaker sacred saber that Black Wild Saber had placed in front of him, and its formidable saber intent shook Black Wild Saber to the point he retreated step by step. Black Devil Statue. Black Wild Saber immediately summoned the Black Devil Statue after he was blasted back by the Heaven-grade Sword Soul. He intended to rely on the ultimate treasure of the Black Devil race to turn the situation around. Universe Sword Formation. Releasing an endless amount of demonic chi, the Black Demon God statue, which seemed to have awakened, attacked with a demonic trident in its hand. Yi Chunfeng decisively summoned the Cosmos Sword Formation and controlled it to rapidly fuse together. The Cosmos Sword Formation formed a huge Cosmos sword above his head that slashed towards the Black Demon God statue. Bang! The Black Devil statue showed a trace of loss of control as it collided head-on with the Universe Sword, and its enormous sword intent shook the Black Devil statue to the point it was ceaselessly pushed back. Grand Sky Devil Art, Devil Saber. Black Wild Saber seized the opportunity when Yi Chunfeng collided head-on with the Black Devil statue and leaped high into the air. He deduced the Grand Sky Devil Art to its limits, and his combat strength soared as he transformed into a Devil Saber that slashed down towards Yi Chunfeng. When Yi Chunfeng used the giant spiritual sword to block Black Wild Saber's Devil Saber, Black Wild Saber, who was covered in devil chi, slashed out a second and third time. Every time he slashed out, the might of the devil's frenzied blade would increase rapidly under the amplification of the great heavenly demon art. After 5 slashes, Yi Chunfeng was forced to retreat step by step. The blood and chi in his body started to surge violently. This Black Wild Saber is indeed not simple. Although Yi Chunfeng's offensive was restrained by Black Wild Saber, there was no trace of panic on his face. He decisively fused with the Chaos Essence bead to further increase his strength as he used the giant spiritual sword to meet the attack with all his might. Break! When Yi Chunfeng forcefully blocked Black Wild Saber's 9th slash, Black Wild Saber's entire body fused with the wave-breaking sacred saber and blended with the pitch-black devil chi. He seized the opportunity when Yi Chunfeng lost control of his body and slashed at his head, wanting to end the battle with one slash. 100 layers of spatial restriction. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and suppressed the surging blood and chi in his heart. He mobilized the powerful spatial force and formed 100 layers of restrictions in front of him to block Black Wild Saber's 10th slash, which was also the most powerful slash. Ka. Under Black Wild Saber's all-out attack, Yi Chunfeng's 100 layers of restrictions were constantly shattered. However, the defensive power of the 100 layers of spatial restriction was so strong that it still managed to block Black Wild Saber's 10th slash. Next, it's my turn to attack. Yi Chunfeng lost his patience and put away the giant spiritual sword. He summoned the demon sealing sword, which was engraved with 100 ancestral marks and had reached the level of an upper-grade transcendent sacred artifact. Ethereal Great Tao Sword. Yi Chunfeng stabbed out with the demon sealing sword. A terrifying power of the Great Tao gushed out of the demon sealing sword. The terrifying sword light tore through the void and slashed at Black Wild Saber. Black Demon Statue, block it. Feeling the terrifying power of Yi Chunfeng's sword, Black Wild Saber's expression changed drastically. He immediately ordered the Black Demon Statue to block it with all its might. Gotcha! After blocking Yi Chunfeng's ethereal Great Tao sword attack head-on, a crisp cracking sound rang out from the Black Demon Statue. The terrifying power of the Great Tao shattered the Black Demon Statue and slashed the Black Demon clan's greatest treasure to the ground from mid-air. What? The Black Demon Statue is broken. Zhang Shishir and her sister, who were watching the battle from afar, revealed looks of disbelief when they saw Yi Chunfeng shatter the Black Demon Statue with a single slash. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. Good. I'll let you see my final trump card. Black Wild Saber didn't expect Yi Chunfeng's combat strength to be so terrifying. He took out an elixir and swallowed it quickly. With this elixir, he rapidly increased his strength and vaguely touched the one-star demon god realm. It doesn't matter what trump card you use. You're destined to be the loser. After saying that, Yi Chunfeng used the way of equipment manipulation and instantly raised the attack power of the demon sealing sword to the extreme. Limitless chaos. Yi Chunfeng held the demon sealing sword in his hand and summoned the phantom of the chaotic divine tree. The 4 sky-level Tao diagrams and the power of chaos intertwined and slashed at Black Wild Saber. Ka. The power of this attack was unimaginably great. A large area of the void collapsed, and the terrifying chaotic power destroyed everything. It crushed the killing moves that Black Wild Saber was continuously performing as if they were rotten wood, and engulfed him in an instant. No! Black Wild Saber, whose life was hanging by a thread, let out an unwilling roar. Before he could fully use his trump card, his identity token had shattered. He was eliminated. Chapter 1679. After defeating Black Frenzied Blade, the number on Yi Chunfeng's identity token soared rapidly. Soon, the number on his token reached more than 68,000, and he directly entered the top 5. Look, the top 8 of the 100 battle ranking list has changed. Black Frenzied Blade has disappeared, and Yi Chunfeng has become the 5th. Gosh, where did Yi Chunfeng come from? He actually defeated Black Demon Clan's number 1 genius, Black Frenzied Blade. Yi Chunfeng is a strange name. Maybe he came from the Void God realm. Looking at the changes of the 100 battle ranking list, the experts who were paying attention to the changes were stunned, and the Black Demon Clan was even more furious. Yi Chunfeng, it's Yi Chunfeng again. Although there were thousands of geniuses from the Black Demon Clan participating in the 100 battles competition, only Black Frenzied Blade and Black Fengu had a chance to enter the top 8. But now, both of them had been defeated by Yi Chunfeng and had been miserably eliminated. This caused the Black Demon Clan's patriarch to be driven mad. He wanted nothing more than to charge into the Sage of 100 battles and cut Yi Chunfeng into 1,000 pieces. Interesting, I didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to really enter the top 8. What an unexpected little guy. Bing Luojun saw the changes on the list and smiled faintly. She was looking forward to Yi Chunfeng's final result. Brother Yi, I haven't seen you for a few years. How did you become so powerful? Even Black Frenzied Blade is no match for you. Seeing that Black Frenzied Blade failed to resist Yi Chunfeng's attack and was miserably eliminated, Zhang Shishir was deeply shocked by his strength and said in awe, "These years, I have had some adventures and improved my strength." Yi Chunfeng smiled and said vaguely, "Young Master Yi, we will remember your kindness and repay you in the future." Zhang Wudi looked at Yi Chunfeng with admiration and said gratefully, "Without Yi Chunfeng, they would not only not be able to take back the War God Blade, but also be disqualified in humiliation." "Young Master Zhang, you're too polite." Yi Chunfeng smiled. He had a good impression of Zhang Wudi, who was full of fighting spirit. "Let's go. Let's find a quiet place to talk." After he finished speaking, Yi Chunfeng brought Zhang Shishir and her brother away from the heavily damaged forest and came to a quiet lakeside. "Sir Zhang Shishir, these 2 pills are for you." Yi Chunfeng felt that Zhang Wudi and Zhang Wudi were severely injured, so he took out 2 upper-grade True Spirit Saint Dan and gave them to them. "Thank you, Big Brother Yi." Zhang Shishir didn't stand on ceremony with Yi Chunfeng. She took the 2 upper-grade Saint True elixirs, took one and gave the other to Zhang Wudi. After taking 2 upper-grade Saint True elixir, Zhang Wudi and Zhang Wudi immediately felt warm all over, and their injuries quickly healed. About 2 days later, Zhang Wudi and Zhang Wudi recovered from their injuries and woke up. Shishir, are you going to follow me or face the enemy alone?" There was not much time left before the battle Sacred Realm closed. Yi Chunfeng still needed to continue defeating his opponents to ensure that he was in the top 8. Big brother Yi, I'll follow you. Jean Chercheur was really scared out of her wits. She shouted without thinking. Hey, if brother Yi doesn't mind, let's go together. Although Jean Woody wanted to leave alone and challenge experts to train himself, the brother and sister were very close. Since Jean Chercheur had expressed her stance, he chose to obey. In that case, let's go. After that, Yi Chunfeng didn't waste any more time. He took Jean Chercheur and Jean Woody and flew above the forest to look for opponent. The 10-year deadline was getting closer and closer. Almost 90% of the contestants in the battle's sacred realm had been eliminated. It was all luck to meet an opponent. Yi Chunfeng and the other two searched patiently above the forest for about 10 days, but they didn't find anyone. And there's something in the forest ahead. Let's go take a look. When Yi Chunfeng and the other two flew to a valley covered by clouds, Yi Chunfeng's powerful soul power vaguely felt a spirituality in the valley. He raised his eyebrows and immediately flew into the valley with Jean Chercheur and Jean Woody. They broke through layers of restrictions and arrived at the end of the valley. They saw an ancient tree in the shape of a coiling bone dragon with 6 dragon-head fruit. Dragon Bone Sacred Tree. Looking at the bone-white ancient tree in front of them, Yi Chunfeng and Jean Woody recognized it at the same time. It was an ancient tree that was nurtured by the associated dragon bone, and the dragon fruit it condensed was comparable to the low-grade Heaven's Reach Saint elixir. It was extremely precious. I didn't expect that there would be a dragon bone sacred tree in the battle sacred realm. Judging from the bone wheel of this dragon bone sacred tree, it's probably more than 7 million years old, said the knowledgeable Jean Woody. Brother Jean Chercheur, I want this dragon bone sacred tree. The 6 dragon fruits it condenses will belong to you. How about it? Although the dragon fruits condensed by the dragon bone sacred tree were incomparably precious, there were a lot of spiritual items growing in the 4th level of the universe realm. Many of them were far more valuable than the dragon fruit. What Yi Chunfeng really needed was this dragon bone sacred tree. If he let the primal chaos divine wood devour it, it would be even stronger. No, we only need 2 of these dragon fruits. Jean Woody shook his head and didn't want more dragon fruit. All right, brother Jean. Let's wait until we subdue this dragon bone sacred tree before we distribute the dragon fruits, Yi Chunfeng said with a smile. He stepped on his sword and approached the dragon bone sacred tree. Purring, purring, purring. Sensing Yi Chunfeng's approach, the entire ground trembled. Tree roots as thick as buckets broke out of the ground like spears, attacking Yi Chunfeng at an extremely fast speed. Break! A large number of roots attacked. Yi Chunfeng activated the power of his 5 acupoints. Rolling power erupted in his body and poured into his fists, crushing the attacking roots. At this time, Jean Woody and Jean Chercheur also attacked the dragon bone sacred tree with their own battle weapons, crushing the root. Hum, hum, hum. Under the attack of Yi Chunfeng's trio, deafening dragon roars came from the dragon bone sacred tree. 3 ferocious phantoms of bone dragons emerged from the bone-like tree and roared toward Yi Chunfeng's trio. Chercheur, watch out! Jean Woody quickly stood in front of Jean Chercheur and slashed with his battle saber invincible. Streaks of saber light that could split the sky and earth continuously chopped at one of the phantoms of bone dragons, shattering them into pieces. Yi Chunfeng summoned the primal chaos divine wood. The primal chaos divine wood emitted chaotic power and shattered the 2 phantoms of bone dragons with ease. Go! The 3 phantoms of bone dragons were shattered. Yi Chunfeng used the primal chaos divine wood and controlled it to grow continuously. It floated above the dragon bone sacred tree, swaying with the primal chaos 5 elements light. It ferociously attacked the dragon bone sacred tree and suppressed him instantly. Heaven rank sword soul slash. When the primal chaos divine wood restrained the dragon bone sacred tree, Yi Chunfeng controlled the heaven rank sword soul to slash out and cut off the 6 dragon fruits condensed by the dragon bone sacred tree. Primal chaos divine wood devour. After taking the 6 dragon fruits, which were worth as much as low-grade heaven-piercing saint elixir, Yi Qianfeng immediately controlled the primal chaos divine wood to extend tens of thousands of five-colored roots, covering the entire void and breaking into the dragon bone sacred tree. Although the dragon bone sacred tree was very tough, it couldn't withstand the five-colored roots condensed by the primal chaos divine wood. The five-colored roots broke into the tree body one by one, and the spiritual energy it contained was continuously devoured by the primal chaos divine wood. Brother Jean, sure, how about this? I'll keep 2 dragon fruits, and you can have the rest. With that, Yi Qianfeng stuffed the remaining 4 dragon fruits into the hands of Jean Sure and Jean Wudi. Ah, Brother Yi, we owe you even more, Jean Wudi said gratefully, holding the heavy and valuable dragon fruits in his hands. Brother Jean, if you treat me as a friend, you don't have to be so polite. Yi Qianfeng smiled and said indifferently. Okay, Brother Yi, you're my friend. Jean Wudi didn't refuse anymore. He and Jean Sure took the dragon fruits that were very important to them. They sat around and patiently waited for the primal chaos divine wood to devour the dragon bone sacred tree. Chapter 1680. The chaos divine wood's devouring of the dragon bone saint tree caused a huge commotion. The entire void was illuminated by the chaos divine wood's chaos 5 elements light, which could be seen from hundreds of miles away. Someone's coming. Yi Qianfeng, who was sitting cross-legged at the end of the valley, suddenly opened his eyes and smiled coldly. Young Master Yi, they're from the Green Sky clan. Jean Wudi immediately recognized the 3 men in dark green robes who were flying toward them at high speed. He transmitted his voice to Yi Qianfeng. Brother Jean Sure, we'll each take one of them. We'll earn points by defeating them. After that, Yi Qianfeng released an extremely powerful battle intent. He rose from the ground and attacked the 3 Green Sky clan mighty figures. The fact that the 3 almighties of the Azure Sky clan had lasted until the end was proof of their strength. 2 of them were 5-star heavenly lords, while the other was close to becoming a 5-star heavenly lord. The 3 of them could fight against a 6-star heavenly lord if they worked together. However, to the current Yi Qianfeng, the 3 of them were only children. You're courting death. When the 3 Green Sky clan mighty figures saw Yi Qianfeng flying over, they summoned 3 supreme-grade true spirit saint treasures and attacked him, trying to injure him severely. Boundless 3-foot sword. 4 heaven-level Tao diagrams appeared on Yi Qianfeng's body and turned into a 3-foot-long divine sword above his head. Fusing with the great Tao, it instantly sent the 3 supreme-grade true spirit saint treasures flying and attacked the 3 people. Oh no! Sensing how terrifying the boundless 3-foot sword was, the 3 Green Sky clan mighty figures instinctively wanted to dodge, but the boundless 3-foot sword was too fast. It slashed towards them in the blink of an eye. With a miserable scream, the boundless 3-foot sword sent a 5-star heaven lord flying and destroyed his identity medallion. Although the other 2 Green Sky clan mighty figures escaped, they were injured by the remaining power of the boundless 3-foot sword. They spat out blood and fell to the ground. They were heavily injured. Just as they were struggling to get up, Jean Wudi and Jean Sure appeared and attacked them fiercely. Jean Wudi was a 6-star Tao Lord, and he'd slashed apart the identity token of the second 5-star Heavenly Lord and defeated him. Jean Sure was only a 6-star Tao Dharch. With Jean Wudi's help, she was able to shatter the identity token of the last Almighty from the Green Sky race and obtain a large number of points. 73,000 points. Looking at the rapidly increasing points, Yi Qianfeng felt that he should be able to guarantee a place in the top 8. With a thought, he summoned Xia Dai and the spirit fish from the universe mirror. He was prepared to help them kill the enemies and earn a large amount of points so that they could get a good ranking and obtain high rewards. Spatial treasure. Looking at the Xiao-patterned butterfly and spiritual fish that appeared out of thin air, Jean Wudi raised his eyebrows in shock. What's the matter, Brother Jean? Yi Qianfeng asked with a smile when he saw Jean Wudi lose his composure. I didn't expect Brother Yi to have a spatial treasure that isn't restrained by the 100 Battle Sage realm. Yi Qinfeng didn't know that the 100 Battle Sage realm restrained all spatial treasures, and Yi Qinfeng could enter and exit the universe mirror at will. It was enough to show that the universe realm was above the 100 Battle Sage realm and wasn't restrained by it. Spirit fish, Matsi, these 2 dragon fruits are for you. Yi Qinfeng took out the 2 dragon fruits that he'd just obtained and gave them to the spirit fish and Xia Dai so that they could continue to improve their strength. The 5-colored divine light emitted by the chaos divine wood was too eye-catching. After half a day, more experts were attracted over. However, before they could get close, they were heavily injured by Yi Qinfeng and the others who were waiting for them. In the end, their points were divided among the spirit fish and the others. In about 2 days, the chaos divine wood completely devoured the spiritual energy contained in the dragonbone sacred tree. The condensed tree core was completely formed, and the tree trunk became thicker and stronger. The chaotic energy contained within it became even stronger. Everyone, hide well. I'll continue to use the chaos divine wood to attract the enemies, and then we'll attack together. Feeling that the method of using the chaos divine wood to lure the enemies was very effective, Yi Qinfeng and the others didn't leave. They hid in the valley and continued to use the chaos divine wood to lure the enemies. Days passed. Under the attraction of the 5-element chaotic light emitted by the chaos divine wood, experts from various clans continued to appear. They suffered the same fate, which was to be heavily injured by Yi Qinfeng and Zhan Wudi, and the points were divided among the 3 spirit fish and the others. Soon, there were only 2 months left before the 100 Battle Sage realm closed. Zhan Wudi, Xia Dai, and the others who were hiding in the valley and waiting for them kept increasing their points. Although Yi Qinfeng didn't defeat the enemies, his 70,000 points allowed him to firmly occupy the 5th place of the 100 battle ranking, surpassing the 1-star Dao God Gu Hong, the peerless genius of the ancient clan. Someone else is coming. After another 5 days, a terrifying aura appeared in the sky above the valley. When Yi Qinfeng felt this terrifying aura, his deep eyes shot out a strong battle intent. His body flashed and appeared in midair. It's you. Tian Wufa, who was attracted by the chaos divine wood, narrowed his eyes when he saw Yi Qinfeng suddenly appear in front of him. He revealed a trace of surprise. Then, his body emitted a strong killing intent that locked onto Yi Qinfeng. It seems that the 5-colored divine wood was your plan to lure the enemies. Tian Wufa recognized that the chaos divine wood was Yi Qinfeng's natal treasure. He immediately guessed that he had stepped into Yi Qinfeng's trap. However, he also gained some benefits in the 100 Battle Sage realm. His strength had increased further, and he was only 1 step away from breaking through to the 1-star Heavenly God realm. In addition, he was familiar with Yi Qinfeng's methods. He was completely confident that he could defeat him and avenge his previous humiliation. Tian Wufa, how did you attract him here? Zhan Wudi recognized Tian Wufa with a single glance. He knew that he came from the Void God realm and was a top genius from the absolute overlord of the Void God realm. His strength was unfathomable, enough to sweep through the geniuses of the heaven domain. Brother, is Tian Wufa very strong? Zhan Shishir looked at her brother's solemn face and asked nervously. Very strong. In terms of overall strength, Tian Wufa is several times stronger than Black Wild Blade. He has the strength to contend against a divine realm expert. Tian Wufa nodded and said solemnly. Then Big Brother Yi won't lose, right? Zhan Shishir was even more nervous. If Yi Qinfeng lost, they might also be killed by Tian Wufa. It could be said that their fate was already tied to Yi Qinfeng. Don't worry, Qinfeng won't lose. Xia Wendy had blind confidence in Yi Qinfeng. In addition, Yi Qinfeng had defeated Tian Wufa before. She did not believe that Yi Qinfeng would lose to Tian Wufa. Tian Wufa, I let you escape last time. This time, I'm afraid you won't be so lucky. Today, I will defeat you. Yi Qianfeng's eyes burned with fighting spirit. He wanted to defeat Tian Wufa and take his point. Today, we will settle the humiliation of that day. Today, I will crush all of your pride. Tian Wufa replied domineeringly. He summoned the Sword of Light and held it in his hand, pointing it at Yi Qianfeng. The two top geniuses faced each other with equal harshness. A great battle was about to break out. P.S. Everyone, please add me on WeChat, YLTY83. I'll update at full capacity soon. Chapter 1681. Your wish is good, but reality is cruel. Today, you'll definitely lose. Yi Qianfeng ignored Tian Wufa's threat, summoned the demon sealing sword, and slashed at him with shocking sword energy. Buzz! An ear-piercing sound tore through the air. The demon sealing sword collided with Tian Wufa's extreme light sword. Instantly, a large amount of energy rippled through the air, and terrifying energy tore through the void, causing cracks to appear in the fabric of space. In this clash, they were evenly matched. Yi Qianfeng and Tian Wufa switched moves at the same time, interweaving sword images as they slashed at each other. Primordial bloodline, two sacred true soul flames, ignite. Tian Wufa's combat prowess was far superior to black wild blades, and Yi Qianfeng's offensive was completely suppressed by his tide-like attacks. Yi Qianfeng decisively used his trump card and raised his strength to the peak of the 6-star Dao Lord level as he fiercely counterattacked. Unseal. The instant Yi Qianfeng's strength exploded, Tian Wufa also used a powerful trump card. He borrowed the unsealed energy in his body to instantly surpass the limits of his cultivation realm and possess the strength of a 1-star celestial god. Celestial God 100 battle weapons. With his strength skyrocketing, Tian Wufa unleashed his ultimate killing move. The will of the Great Path erupted from his body, transforming into divine weapons of all shapes and sizes. They shattered the void and bombarded Yi Qianfeng. Limitless chaos. Yi Qianfeng didn't dodge. Instead, he used the Dao steel he had comprehended and combined it with the Chaos Divine Wood to meet the attack. The phantom of the Chaos Divine Wood appeared around him. After fusing the Chaos Divine Wood's power with the 4 heaven-level Dao diagrams, Yi Qianfeng struck out with primal chaos energy that could shatter the horizon. It collided with the Celestial God 100 battle weapons, causing the space within the Sage of 100 battles to collapse. Strong. The two of them are too strong. This terrifying destructive power has definitely surpassed the limits of a Dao Master's strength. As he sensed the destructive power of their killer moves, Zhang Wudi was deeply awed and convinced by their combat strength. Big brother, who's the one with the upper hand right now? Zhang Shishi's white and tender hands were tightly clenched together as she watched the two people fighting fiercely in the destructive storm. In a fight between masters, there is only a slight difference. At present, they seem to be evenly matched. Zhang Wudi shook his head and said, "Who will have the last laugh will depend on their strength." Tian Wufa, is this what you're so proud of? It's nothing much. Yi Qianfeng unleashed the everlasting primal chaos to block the attack of the heavenly god's 100 battle soldier. He let out a tyrannical roar and continued attacking Tian Wufa with the demon sealing sword. Human brat, I'll kill you today. Relying on his absolute strength to withstand this destructive energy, Heaven Wufa summoned the low-quality transcendent saint treasure, the 8 trigrams disc. 8 trigrams combine. Next, he fused with the 8 trigrams disc and used his body to form the 8 trigrams disc, forming beams of extremely powerful 8 trigrams formation light that bombarded Yi Qianfeng. Chaos Divine Wood break. Streaks of 8 trigrams formation light with astonishing might surged over. Yi Qianfeng immediately summoned the primal Chaos Divine Wood to receive the attack. Under Yi Qianfeng's control, the primal Chaos Divine Tree continued to grow taller and taller. Its 5-colored crown swayed rapidly, shattering the incoming 8 trigrams formation light and shattering everything. Amazing! Brother Yi, where did you get this life treasure of yours? It's so powerful. Seeing the chaos divine would shattering the 8 trigrams disc's attacks, Zhan Wuti couldn't help but reveal a look of envy. He envied Yi Chunfeng for having a divine item like the chaos divine wood. 8 trigrams disc, reverse the universe. After a fruitless attack, Tian Wufa took a deep breath and forcefully reversed the 8 trigrams disc, forming beams of heaven-defying energy that attacked Yi Chunfeng fiercely. The 8 trigrams disc's reversal attack was even more powerful, but it still couldn't shake the chaos divine wood that was rooted in heaven and earth. As time passed, Tian Wufa's energy consumption grew greater and greater. He was forced to take one Supreme True Spirit Saint pill after another to recover so that he could control the 8 trigrams disc's attack. As Tian Wufa spared no effort in his attacks, 200-some Supreme True Spirit Saint swords flew out of Yi Chunfeng's body and circled above his head, forming an extremely powerful sword formation. Universe Sword Formation, Universe Strike. With a thought, Yi Chunfeng's heaven-level sword soul fused into the Cosmos Sword Formation, increasing the power of the sword formation to the maximum. It turned into a huge Cosmos sword that cut through the void and slashed towards the 8 trigrams plate. Although Tian Wufa was able to control the 8 trigrams disc to block the Universe Sword's attack, Yi Chunfeng was still able to take advantage of this opportunity. However, Yi Chunfeng had seized the opportunity and launched an attack at him, bringing him great danger. Godless Sword. With a thrust of his sword, the Demon Sealing Sword's demon spirit awoke, activating 100 ancestral patterns and pushing the Demon Sealing Sword's offensive power to the limit. It transformed into a sword of light that could seize the good fortune of the world, devouring all as it slashed at the 8 trigrams disc. Puff, puff. Using the 8 trigrams disc to withstand Yi Chunfeng's godless sword, Tian Wufa was immediately injured. Mouthfuls of blood spurted out from his mouth as his delicate face turned pale. Big Brother Yi is too awesome. He injured his opponent. Brother Ye's strength is too shocking. If the outside world knew that he injured Tian Wufa head-on, it would definitely cause a huge uproar. The Void God World was above the Heaven Domain. The geniuses of the Void God World were not comparable to the geniuses of the Heaven Domain. Apart from Ling Yusin of the Heaven-Defying Palace, the other geniuses of the Void God World were much weaker than them. But now, Yi Chunfeng's appearance had broken this curse. This shocked Zhan Wuti, but it was also a great surprise. Tian Wufa, your strength is only so. Seeing the pale-faced Tian Wufa fly out of the 8 trigrams disc, Yi Chunfeng did not give him the slightest chance to catch his breath. Wielding the Demon Sealing Sword, he continued to attack. And the reason why Yi Chunfeng had not used the Tao of Artifact Manipulation for so long was because while the Tao of Artifact Manipulation was powerful, it was also very restrictive. It could only be used once a day. Thus, unless it was absolutely necessary, he was unwilling to use his strongest trump card. Celestial Demon Heaven Form. Being injured by Yi Chunfeng again made Tian Wufa feel extraordinary shame and humiliation. Taking a deep breath, he ignited his powerful Tao core and released a terrifying Tao energy, forcibly using the Celestial God race's top-grade inherited divine ability that only Celestial Gods could use. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Affected by Tian Wufa's Celestial Demon Heaven form, a large amount of heavenly energy poured into his body. His body grew larger and larger, transforming into a powerful celestial demon body. His strength and battle prowess increased yet again. Celestial Demon Body. To think that the celestial race can use the celestial race's divine ability. Yi Chunfeng was surprised to see Tian Wufa transform into a celestial demon body. He sensed that the decline of the celestial race might have something to do with the decline of the celestial race. Die for me. After transforming into his god-devil body, Tian Wutai's power soared. he punched out, shattering the air around him as he shot toward Yi Chunfeng with shocking destructive power. Even if you transform into heaven, I'll crush you beneath my feet. Although Tian Wufa used the celestial demon heaven form and became even more frightening, Yi Chunfeng was still fearless. With a roar, he punched out with his right fist. When their fists collided, more than 2 billion jin of strength exploded from Yi Chunfeng's fist, instantly suppressing Tian Wufa's strength and forcing him back again and again. Heaven-grade sword soul, slash. As Tian Wufa was pushed back by Yi Chunfeng's fist, the heaven-grade sword soul shrouded in faint red light descended from the heavens and slashed at Tian Wufa. Celestial Demon Fist, break. Tian Wu Fa punched out with both fists, colliding head-on with the Tian-level sword spirit. The terrifying power shattered the attack of the Tian-level sword spirit and continued towards Yi Chunfeng. Chapter 1682. True Spirit Dragon Seizing Fist. Yi Chunfeng wanted to crush all of Tian Wufa's pride. With a thought, he put away the demon's sealing sword. Relying on his absolute physical strength, he blasted out a shockingly powerful fighting dragon fist, fighting Tian Wufa in close combat. Tian Wufa's god-devil body was extremely powerful, but Yi Chunfeng had cultivated his battle body to the second heavenly layer, so his physical body was no weaker than his. The two of them fought fiercely in the void, causing the fabric of space to sway. Time acceleration. Now that they were evenly matched, Yi Chunfeng suddenly accelerated time by 4 times, increasing the speed of his attacks. In the blink of an eye, Yi Chunfeng's offense suppressed Tian Wufa, forcing him back again and again. Dimensional slash. Tian Wufa took a deep breath and used the law of space to tear open the space above his head, summoning a dimensional slash to slash at Yi Chunfeng. Spatial storm. As the dimensional slash approached, Yi Chunfeng used the law of space he had just comprehended, creating a terrifying spatial storm that instantly shattered the dimensional slash and swept toward Tian Wufa. That day, when he was unable to rely on his powerful physical body and strength to withstand the baptism of the spatial storm, Yi Chunfeng summoned the Chaos Divine Tree. The 5-colored tree crown swayed and lashed at his chest fiercely, breaking through his body's defenses and turning his chest into a bloody mess. He was flung hundreds of miles away and crashed into a towering mountain wall in the distance, shattering the entire mountain wall. Big Brother Yi, you can do it! Big Brother Yi will win! Seeing Yi Chunfeng heavily injure Tian Wufa once more, Zhan Shirshir's pure face lit up with joy and she excitedly shouted. If Brother Yi can defeat Tian Wufa, his points will definitely surpass 100,000. At that time, he might even be able to enter the top 3 of the preliminaries. Seeing Yi Chunfeng hold the absolute advantage, Zhan Wudi inwardly breathed a sigh of relief and revealed a rare smile. God-Devil Heaven Aspect, Heaven-Cleaving Strike. After being injured by Yi Chunfeng again, Tian Wufa was completely infuriated. He shattered a large portion of the mountain wall and didn't hesitate to ignite all of his blood qi. Using his powerful blood qi as a guide, he forcibly used his most powerful attack to attack Yi Chunfeng. With one strike, the space was turbulent, the sun and the moon dimmed, and the terrible power annihilated everything, as if it wanted to break through the sky. Zhan Wudi and the others, who were watching from afar, held their breath. They felt like the end of the world was coming, and they couldn't help but tremble. Tao of Artifact Control, 1 Sword. Heaven's Sword, Heaven-Cleaving Sword, Heaven's Sword Art, Heaven-Cleaving Strike, Heaven's Sword, and Heaven's Sword of Heaven's Swords Tao, Heaven-Cleaving Sword of Heaven's Sword. Heaven's Sword of Heaven's Sword, Strike. The Sword of Heaven-Cleaving Sword, branded with the terrifying seal of the Great Tao, cut through the God-Devil Heaven-Cleaving Strike and continued on toward the grim-faced Tian Wufa. Although at this critical moment, Tian Wufa continuously used his defensive trump cards to defend himself, Yi Chunfeng's God-slaying sword still managed to pierce through his defensive trump cards and send him flying. Heaven Escape. With his body heavily injured, Tian Wufa's combat strength plummeted, and he decisively used his trump card to flee. However, Yi Chunfeng's speed was even faster. In the blink of an eye, he had closed the distance between them. He continuously used powerful attacks to bombard his body, aggravating his injuries and shattering his identity medallion. "Human brat, I swear I won't let you go." Unable to endure his injuries, Tian Wufa roared in rage. "Humph, a mere loser wants to overturn the heavens?" Yi Chunfeng coldly snorted, unmoved. Just as Yi Chunfeng was about to shatter Tian Wufa's identity medallion and defeat him, a terrifying aura suddenly appeared. Feeling this aura, the despairing Tian Wufa rejoiced. He rushed into the distance and shouted, "Brother Wutian, save me!" Hearing Tian Wufa's cry for help, a man wearing a dark golden robe embroidered with dragons, a crown on his head, and a white jade belt on his waist flew over. He had an extraordinary bearing. "No one can save you. Accept your fate." As he said that, Yi Chunfeng threw out the demon's sealing sword with all his might. It drew a streak of light in the air, slashing viciously at the heavily injured Tian Wufa. As he roared out in frustration, his identity medallion was destroyed and he was eliminated. After defeating Tian Wufa, the number on Yi Chunfeng's identity medallion rapidly soared, exceeding 130,000 in the blink of an eye, surpassing Yu Yeming and the most popular candidate for the championship, Tian Qinyun of the Divine Sky race. He now ranked first on the 100 battle ranking. "You're courting death." Although Huang Wutian came from the Imperial Sky race and Tian Wufa came from the Divine Sky race, the two races had a close relationship. The two had a good personal relationship. Seeing Yi Chunfeng defeat Tian Wufa from afar completely enraged the one-star heavenly deity Huang Wutian. With a furious roar, he summoned a halberd that could bend mountains. It was a low-grade transcendent saint artifact, and slashed at Yi Chunfeng. As the halberd slashed down, a large area of space could not withstand the halberd's interweaving halberd shadows. The terrifying power was as heavy as a mountain, suffocating him. Huang Wutian, the top genius sent by the Imperial Sky race this time. Through Tian Wufa's cry for help, Yi Chunfeng immediately guessed that the person in front of him was one of the 5 God-rank masters, Huang Wutian. He was also one of the 6 most likely to win the championship of this 100 battles martial competition. Facing the halberd shadows, Yi Chunfeng did not dodge. Instead, he met the attack with all his strength. He wanted to know if he could defeat Huang Wutian with his current strength. Boom! The demon sealing sword and the halberd collided. The two terrifying forces fiercely repelled each other, causing the space within several miles to tremble. Interesting. Huang Wutian was startled, revealing a strange smile. He did not think that Yi Chunfeng would be able to shake his halberd with just the strength of his physical body. "I want to see how many halberd attacks you can block." As he spoke, the strength of Huang Wutian's body skyrocketed, instantly surpassing 20 billion genes. Holding the several 100 million genes halberd in his hand, it was as if he was waving a mountain, continuously slashing at Yi Chunfeng. Dong dong dong. Every time the two divine weapons collided, it caused the heavens and earth to tremble. The terrifying power was like a magnificent army sweeping through the sky, destroying everything. "Big brother, who is that?" Seeing Huang Wutian brandishing the halberd and fiercely attacking, Zhang Shishir's expression changed, nervously asking. "That person is called Huang Wutian. He is a strong contender for first place in this 100 battles martial competition. His strength has reached the level of a 1-star celestial god," Zhang Wudi said with a dignified expression. He did not expect that the battle between Yi Chunfeng and Tian Wu would attract this killing god. He began to worry about Yi Chunfeng. Not bad, not bad. I haven't met anyone who can match my strength in a long time," Huang Wutian said with high fighting spirit. He continued to wave the halberd, fighting Yi Chunfeng head-on. The two fought fiercely from the sky to the ground, and then from the ground to mid-air. The more they fought, the faster and stronger they became. The 100 Battles martial competition realm was destroyed beyond recognition. Just as the two fought fiercely to the climax, Huang Wutian, who was gradually losing patience, used his trump card, instantly doubling his strength and realm. In the next moment, the halberd in his hand shone with a dazzling light, fiercely slashing at Yi Qinfeng's demon sealing sword. More than 40 billion genes of strength bombarded Yi Qinfeng's body like a giant mountain, directly smashing him from mid-air to the ground, creating a bottomless pit. Chapter 1683. Qingfeng, witnessing Yi Qinfeng being smashed to the ground by Huang Wutian's halberd, Xia Wendi and the others' hearts immediately sank. Huang Wutian's strength was beyond their imagination. They had a feeling that Yi Qinfeng might not be a match for Huang Wutian. The identity token didn't shatter. Huang Wutian looked at Yi Qinfeng, who was flying out of the pit with blood flowing out of the corner of his mouth. He was a little surprised that Yi Qinfeng was only lightly injured after taking a full blow from his trump card. Let's see how many of my moves you can take. In the next moment, Huang Wutian continued to launch fierce attacks at Yi Qinfeng with the halberd in his hand. He was determined to defeat him and obtain his point. Divine Blood Pearl, Chaos Essence Pearl, fuse. Huang Wutian's strength and power were beyond imagination. Yi Qinfeng didn't dare to hold back anymore. He decisively fused the two supreme treasures, stimulating his own potential and instantly raising his strength to the one-star Tao God realm. I didn't expect you to have such a trump card. Sensing that Yi Qinfeng's strength had increased, Huang Wutian's fighting spirit became even stronger. He held the halberd and attacked with all his strength. Each wave of attacks was stronger than the last, continuing to suppress Yi Qinfeng and forcing him to retreat. How can Huang Wutian be so strong? Being completely crushed by Huang Wutian's power, Yi Qinfeng revealed a look of deep shock. He didn't expect that even after using his trump card, he still couldn't withstand Huang Wutian's fierce attack. Chaos everlasting. Yi Qinfeng took a deep breath and deduced the 4 heaven-level Tao diagrams to the extreme. The phantom of the Chaos Divine would appear around him, fusing with the powerful chaotic energy to resist Huang Wutian's attacks. Boom! Their attacks collided again. Yi Qinfeng and Huang Wutian were both pushed back hundreds of meters at the same time. A mouthful of blood flowed from Yi Qinfeng's mouth again. Huang Wutian suppressed the surging qi and blood in his body and continued to attack Yi Qinfeng. Suddenly, the entire space changed. Streams of light appeared strangely, turning into a river of light that flowed endlessly, attacking Huang Wutian. Heaven-defying technique. Huang Wutian fiercely waved the halberd, shattering the rivers of light that were attacking him. He looked behind Yi Qinfeng and saw a woman in a black martial robe, her entire body shrouded in the light of the Tao. Beside her was a man with an extraordinary bearing who was standing on a sword. Ling Yusin, you want to get involved in this mess? Looking at the two people who had suddenly appeared, Huang Wutian's brows were tightly knitted together. Although he was not afraid of Ling Yusin, who was also a divine realm expert, he was wary of Yu, who had an extraordinary background. A few years ago, he had met Yu and fought fiercely for a few days in the Sage of 100 Battles realm. In the end, they were evenly matched. Although he did not use his trump card at that time, he knew that Yu was also holding back. If they fought to the end, no one would know who would win. Yes, Brother Yi is our friend. Yu nodded and said, if you want to find trouble with Brother Yi, you have to defeat me first. Yu, do you really think I'm afraid of you? Huang Wutian glared at the arrogant Yu and said angrily. You'll know if I'm afraid after the battle. Although Huang Wutian's strength was terrifying, Yu was not afraid of him. Brother Wutian, the Sage of 100 Battles realm is about to close. If Brother Wutian really wants to fight with us, why don't you wait until the finals? That way we can fight to our heart's content. Ling Yusin revealed an enchanting smile, and said softly when the battle was about to start. Alright, you'd better pray that you don't meet me in the finals. Otherwise, I won't spare you. Huang Wutian glanced at Yu Yeming and Ling Yusin. After hesitating for a moment, he did not attack again. He left behind a threat and turned to leave. Thank you so much. After experiencing Huang Wutian's strength, Yi Chunfeng felt that there was still a huge gap between them. Unless he used his life spirit spell at all costs, there was no hope of defeating him. Brother Yi is too polite. Yu Yeming revealed a faint smile. I wonder how many points Brother Yi has accumulated. My luck is not bad. I've accumulated 130,000. Yi Chunfeng said with a smile. 130,000. Yu Yeming and Ling Yusin revealed a surprised expression. There were more than 500,000 genius disciples in the Sage of 100 Battles realm. 130,000 points was enough to guarantee that Yi Chunfeng would obtain the first place in the preliminary round of the 100 Battles martial competition. Brother Yi, I wonder who you've defeated to actually accumulate so many points. Yu Yeming asked curiously. I've defeated Gui Xiaodi, He Guangdao, and Tian Wufa. Yi Chunfeng did not hide anything and said frankly. Brother Ye's strength really surprises me. Even He Guangdao and Tian Wufa were defeated by you. One had to know that He Guangdao and Tian Wufa had the strength to rush into the top 8, and Gui Xiaodi was also a strong contender for the top 10. Now that they had all been defeated by Yi Chunfeng, Yu Yeming and Ling Yusin were shocked by Yi Chunfeng's shocking increase in strength. Let's go. We'll wait for the Sage of 100 Battles realm to close. After bidding farewell to Yu Yeming and Ling Yusin, Yi Chunfeng led Xia Wendi and the others out of the heavily damaged forest. They changed to another place and continued to summon the Chaos Divine Wood to attract more enemies. The Chaos Divine Wood was too attractive. While Yi Chunfeng's group was waiting for the Chaos Divine Wood, they still attracted more than 10 powerful experts. Their fates were exactly the same. They were all defeated by Yi Chunfeng and the others, and the points were divided by Zhan Wudi and the other 3. As the days passed, there were fewer and fewer people in the Sage of 100 Battles realm, and the rankings were constantly changing. Yi Chunfeng's name, like a brand, was firmly imprinted in the first place of the 100 battle ranking list, attracting the attention of many people. I didn't expect a dark horse to appear in the preliminary round of the 100 Battles martial arts competition. He defeated Tian Qinyun and Huang Wutian and dominated the first place of the 100 battle ranking list. Yes, even He Guangdao and Tian Wufa were defeated by him. Yi Chunfeng's strength is too terrifying. Humph, it's just the preliminary round. I guess he won't be so popular in the finals. Yes, he has offended so many people. It's hard to say whether he can finish the finals alive. Many people were amazed by Yi Chunfeng's results, but more people were not optimistic about him. Some people thought Yi Chunfeng would definitely die. Just as Yi Chunfeng's group of 5 waited for the Chaos Divine Wood and killed 3 powerful geniuses of various clans and gained a lot of points, a bell suddenly rang, which alarmed the remaining geniuses of various clans in the Sage of 100 Battles martial arts competition. The preliminary round that I've been waiting for 10 years is finally over. Listening to the bell echoing in their ears, the surviving geniuses of various clans breathed a sigh of relief and revealed a look of great surprise. Although their points varied, their rankings would not be too low since they could stay until the end. Thinking of the rewards in the Sage of 100 Battles realm, they could not help but feel excited. The preliminary round of the 100 Battles martial arts competition is over. Now, according to the rankings, the rewards will be given. A deep voice spread to every corner of the Sage of 100 Battles realm, and beams of light of transmission enveloped Yi Chunfeng and the others. The next moment, they disappeared from the Sage of 100 Battles realm and appeared in a mysterious space full of energy. Chapter 1684. Congratulations on obtaining the first in the preliminary round of the 100 Battles Martial Competition. Your reward is to absorb heavenly energy for a year. You'll be teleported out of here once your time is up, or if you're unable to endure the heavenly energy filling your body. An aged voice resounded by Yi Chenfeng's ears while he gazed at the space that was filled with energy. 8th grade Chinese? Net swish. In the next moment, the ocean of energy before him started to fluctuate. A huge amount of energy surged towards Yi Chenfeng like a river, and it directly poured into his body through his pores. What pure energy! When he sensed the vastness and purity of the heavenly energy, Yi Chenfeng immediately discarded all distracting thoughts and multitasked. He controlled the Chaos Divine Wood to absorb heavenly energy while circulating the Soul Eater technique and Divine 9 transformations to refine and absorb the heavenly energy that poured into his body and improve his strength. At the same time, all the geniuses of the various clans who'd fought until the end were teleported into various mysterious spaces. Moreover, the amount of time they received was different according to their final rankings. Ling Yu had accumulated a huge amount of points from the earlier battles, and with Yi Chenfeng's help, she obtained the 58th position in the end and could absorb heavenly energy for a month. Xia Dai obtained the 86th position and could absorb heavenly energy for 20 days. Zhan Shishir obtained the 120th position and could absorb heavenly energy for 10 days. Zhan Wudi's strength was formidable, and he defeated many formidable enemies. In the end, he obtained the 28th position and could absorb heavenly energy for 2 months. On the other hand, Yu Yeming and Ling Yusin obtained the 3rd and 6th positions respectively, and they could absorb heavenly energy for 8 months and half a year. Time flew by, and disciples were being teleported out incessantly. Even though they could only absorb heavenly energy for a short period of time, their gains were huge, and many of them had even broken through the bottleneck of their cultivation that they'd been unable to break through. Huff! I'm at the peak of the 5th star Downlord realm. Yi Chenfeng ceaselessly absorbed heavenly energy for 6 months, and his strength continued to rise explosively to attain the peak of the 5th star Downlord realm. However, he wasn't in a hurry to break through, and he ceaselessly suppressed his cultivation to make his foundation even more solid. On the other hand, the Chaos Divine Wood had absorbed sufficient heavenly energy and was ceaselessly transforming. Its core was growing stronger and stronger, and its might was on the verge of attaining the limits of a high-grade transcendent artifact. What kind of energy is this? Right when Yi Chenfeng's foundation was growing more and more solid and he was charging into the 6th star Downlord realm with all his strength, the sharp God-Eater brain had sensed a strand of strange energy within his body, and he wouldn't have noticed the existence of this energy if it hadn't noticed it. Yes, this power is corroding my root of life. Yi Chenfeng controlled the God-Eater brain to observe this strange energy that was hard to detect. He found that this energy was slowly eroding his root of life. Although it was very slow, if it was not detected, it would continue to erode his life force. It could even cause him to stop in his pursuit of the Supreme Tao. Could this be the true purpose of the heavenly race holding this outer heaven martial meeting? They want to take advantage of this outer heaven martial meeting and wait for an opportunity to sever the future of the top geniuses of the various races, weaken the strength of the various races, and consolidate the heavenly race's position as the overlord. Yi Chenfeng muttered to himself, vaguely guessing the true purpose of this outer heaven martial meeting. Chaotic divine wood, refine it. When he sensed the corrosive energy within the heavenly energy, Yi Chenfeng immediately controlled the chaotic divine wood to stretch out a large number of 5-colored roots that covered every corner of his body, and he tried to completely devour and refine the strands of strange energy within the heavenly energy. The chaotic divine wood was the number 1 divine wood in the universe, and it could refine and absorb any energy. In next to no time, the strange energy that was corroding Yi Chenfeng's root of life was ceaselessly devoured by the chaotic divine wood, and it protected his entire body. However, this caused Yi Qinfeng's speed of refining and absorbing the heavenly energy to slow down incessantly, and it affected his cultivation speed quite a bit. However, he had no choice but to act in this way for safety's sake. If the chaotic divine wood wasn't able to completely devour this strange energy, then it would cause him to suffer injuries that he couldn't recover from, and it was a price he couldn't bear. After another 3 months of time, the corrosive energy within Yi Qinfeng's body had vanished completely under the devouring and refinement of the heavenly energy. He relied on the formidable heavenly energy to break through the bottleneck of his cultivation in one go and break through into the 6-star Daolord realm. After he broke through, Yi Qinfeng started to guide the heavenly energy that was refined and absorbed by the chaotic divine wood to surge into the Shanzhong acupoint on his chest, and it tempered his body to charge into the 3rd level of the battle body realm and improve his combat strength and defense a step further. When Yi Qinfeng utilized the heavenly energy to temper his body, the geniuses of the various clans were teleported out of the heavenly energy dimension. Yi Qinfeng, who's that? The genius of the Xintian clan, Tian Qinyun, who'd suppressed Yu Yeming and seized the 2nd position in the martial competition, frowned slightly as he gazed at Yi Qinfeng, who occupied the 1st position on the 100 battle rankings, and he revealed a surprised expression. Before he participated in the martial competition, Tian Qinyun had investigated his main opponents, and Yi Qinfeng wasn't amongst them. So, he was unable to figure out where Yi Qinfeng had come from. Tian Qinyun, are you surprised that someone actually snatched the title of the 1st place from you? Huang Wutian, who was wearing a dark golden imperial robe and exuding a strong oppressive aura, slowly walked over to Tian Qinyun, who was frowning as he looked up at the 100 battle rankings. Why? Do you know Yi Qinfeng? Tian Qinyun, who was tall and straight like an invincible divine spear, withdrew his gaze from the 100 battle rankings, looked at Huang Wutian, and asked indifferently. Of course, I also fought with him. Huang Wutian nodded and said, this person's strength is indeed extraordinary. If I didn't use my trump card, it would have been difficult to defeat him. Also, he was able to suppress you and seize the 1st position on the 100 battle rankings because he defeated Tian Wufa of the Xintian clan. So, he was the one who defeated Wufa. Tian Qinyun frowned slightly, and his deep eyes shot out billions of rays of light, making it impossible for people to look straight at him. Time passed day by day, and it was getting closer and closer to a year's time. Relying on the chaotic divine wood to ceaselessly refine heavenly energy, the dark pearl within his Shanzhong acupoint was ceaselessly transforming, and it finally transformed into an even more formidable battle pearl. Yi Qinfeng had cultivated to the 3rd level of the battle physique in one go as well. His physical strength had risen explosively to 13 billion kilograms. His physical defense had attained the level of a high-grade true spirit saint artifact, and his combat strength had improved greatly. I wonder if I can defeat Huang Wutian with my current strength. His combat strength and defense had improved greatly, and Yi Qinfeng was slightly looking forward to the finals of the 100 battles competition that was about to begin and to compete with the geniuses of the various clans. Yi Qinfeng had consolidated his strength at the 6-star Daolord realm by devouring heavenly energy. When a year's time arrived, a strand of formidable teleportation energy appeared above his head, and it teleported him out of the heavenly energy dimension and back to the 100 battles city. It caused a huge commotion. When they found out about Yi Qinfeng's appearance, the geniuses of the various clans surged onto the streets as they really wanted to see Yi Qinfeng's elegant demeanor, who'd valiantly seized the 1st position in the preliminary round. However, once Yi Qinfeng left the heavenly energy dimension, he immediately executed an unfathomable speed to return to the small building at the lakeside, causing the experts of the various clans to miss their target. The rewards for the preliminary round have come to an end. A month from now, the lots will be drawn on the 100 battles platform, and the finals will begin. Yi Chunfeng had just returned to the small building at the lakeside when a deep voice resounded in the sky above the 100 Battles City, and it didn't disperse for a long time.